talkSPORT.
With your headlines at just gone 10 a.m. I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. Thomas Tuchel's just asking for a bit of perspective from England fans after that goalless draw against Ghana's top-quality rearguard.
You cannot be naive and leave spaces open. We conceded, I think, 2 counterattacks in the whole match.
2 games in, we're already talking about the players Tuchel didn't take to the World Cup. Former England midfielder Jack Wilshere also thinks Morgan Rogers should have come on earlier.
A natural 10, someone can get on the ball. I think sometimes as well you need midfielders against an opposition like that that can dribble against someone, like get someone to jump out.
Like yourself,
so,
mate.
Maybe. Foden.
Cole Palmer was also left at home. Gabby Agbonlahor thinks he could have given England some X factor, and Jude Bellingham doesn't think he deserved his Player of the Match award.
Second game fever, isn't it? With England, win the first one, do well, and then draw the second one. But it's okay. I think they played for a draw, as it would have seen them go through, and fair play to them. They did a great job.
talkSPORT's Rory Jennings has paid $5,000 to charity this morning. He lost a bet with Piers Morgan that Ronaldo wouldn't score this summer.
He showed the world once again that he is the most clinical, brilliant finisher in the history of world football. And anyone who thinks otherwise, to me, is living in cloud cuckoo land.
41-year-old Ronaldo is the first man to score at 6 consecutive World Cups. Now, after over a decade in retirement, 46-year-old Brazil legend Ronaldinho has now been unveiled at Italian third division club Ravenna FC, and 34-year-old Neymar is fit again and could start against Scotland tonight. He hasn't played for Brazil since 2023. Steve Clark's called Neymar one of the superstars of the modern era. Scotland versus Brazil is live on talkSPORT from 11 p.m.
talkSPORT News.
A rare red warning for extreme heat's in effect. Hundreds of schools are closed. Train services cancelled as temperatures push 40 degrees. The AA is urging drivers to watch out for signs of overheating. More with them are at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. This summer, treat yourself to Bridgestone Turanza all-season 6 tyres with a 25,000 mileage guarantee. Book today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
Exceptionally hot for most of us, feeling humid as extreme heat builds across England and Wales. Northwest Scotland, though, cloudier and cooler with a bit of drizzle.
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is how to win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will...
Good morning, this is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs with you through until 1 o'clock here on talkSPORT, where this morning we laid claim with Ghana to the newly minted FIFA Dog with Fleas Award. Gianni Infantino will be handing it out at the end of the tournament. It's for the biggest absolute stinker of the whole World Cup. At the moment, it's us and Ghana in the frame, as we often have been over the years. Take you back to Italia 90 and that game in the rain with the Republic of Ireland. Anyway, Andy, apart from that, what's coming up?
Coming up over the next 3 hours, Alan Pardew joins us to discuss all the major talking points from last night's game. Former England midfielder Kieran Dyer is also with us in the studio. And in the interest of balance, we speak to a man who hates football and regards the World Cup as a soul-crushing nightmare. He must have watched England last night.
Yeah, I tell you, at the end of the first half, I was with him. We also want your reaction to last night's ball draw. Yeah. So we're open for business. Do get in touch. 03717 223344. Maybe you thought we played well. I mean, look, it isn't a disaster, as we're going to come on to that. And a previous creature of the night is forced to come off the bench late doors for the Colombia DR Congo game.
Very good of him. There's all this plus...
Jill.
Oh, her, sorry.
Thank you, Jill.
That's all.
That's all. You off?
Yeah, bye.
Thanks for popping in. I'll finish up here. I've only got just under 3 hours to do.
There's all this plus. Ex-Premier League ref Graham Scott on VAR going for a coffee. Yeah. And shootout toss changes. Comedian and Tartan Army foot soldier Mark Nelson, recently returned from the States, will look ahead to tonight's crunch game with Brazil.
Yeah, 03717
Jogger Benito for me, mate.
Sorry, what's that?
Jogger Benito.
Indeed. 03717 23344. Give us a call. Your chance, if you've not had a chance so far, on breakfast or with the boys on the sports bar straight after the game, to react to that game against Ghana. 03717 23344. talksport.com/H&J. Text to 81089 or tweet to TSH&J with your thoughts, and we will dot those around the show. If you've got any questions for Alan Pardew, we've got a bunch of things we're going to ask Al, but there may be a question you want to ask a former Premier League manager. Get a bit of a gaffer's insight. So if you've got any questions for Alan, get them into us in the next 10 minutes or so. Talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TSH&J, or as the conversation unfolds. Andy.
Yes, imagine spending £2,000 on a ticket to watch that rubbish.
Yeah.
Honestly, Carlos Queiroz should give everybody a refund.
Yeah, he should.
I've done a business card for him, ruining World Cup since 2002.
Well, I mean, he has...
Oh, God.
Alistair Howard came on yesterday, our African football correspondent. As it started to unfold, I just thought of what he said. I just said to him, so what are we expecting? Low block, making it difficult, 10 behind the ball. He said, oh, yeah, all of that.
Low block?
He did tell us that was going to be happening. The big question on Carlos Queiroz to me is, why was he dressed like he was sitting outside Satriali's deli in The Sopranos, waiting for Silvio and Paulie Walnuts to turn up?
Honest.
Get out of here. It's a good look, isn't it?
It is a good look. It's a shame Kane didn't.
He looks like my Uncle Jim in his pomp. Just I could only see my Uncle Jim singing "I Left My Heart in San Francisco" in a pub.
I hope your Uncle Jim isn't as negative as he.
No, he was. He was a much more positive man. God rest his soul. Yeah.
Played like that, and I've heard people say, "Oh, that's what they had to do." If all 48 teams played like that, football wouldn't exist.
No, Michael Mosbacher would be right. Wouldn't
boring.
Yeah.
And it's just, we'll talk about England later, but, I just can't stand.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the low block outlawed. I'd like to see, basically, if you defend with more than 5 defenders in your last 30 yards, it's a penalty.
Yeah. Now,
Seriously.
I know she's not listening at the moment, so I can say. Now, I generally watching. My wife's in the background. She might be reading. If I'm watching football, watching Spurs, she'll keep half an eye on it. But because it was England, she was engaged in the game to an extent. I think it was very hard to stay engaged in that game.
Yeah, it's very true.
Even anybody from FIFA had to watch that professionally, wouldn't have kept engaged. But at one point, in that key moment when Prince Adu went through and could have had a penalty, Andy,
absolutely.
and the concert tackle, and Graham Scott will give us his take on that a little bit later on. And as while I'm looking at it in replay, trying to pick the bones out of it, forensically looking at it, thinking, blimey, is a VAR going to look at that? She said, is his name Prince Andrew? And I said, no, his name isn't Prince Andrew, and it's neither is it Andrew Mountbatten Winter. It's Prince Adu. So, and it's not helpful, is it?
Not
I mean,
really.
Sometimes when you're watching games like that, you're watching it with people that maybe quite interested to have a conversation about
the back of the coach trying to cover us.
Well, at one point I thought I was doing fantasy football because I was watching the game and another ball going into touch or another cross it in the first man, and she said, that bloke's hat in the second row's a bit weird. So she was like watching the games up TV burp. She was watching the game. So when you're watching games during these big games, the England-Scotland games, with someone who generally doesn't engage with the football, and they get drawn into other stuff or other conversations. So other conversations you found yourself having in the key moments of your home nation's games. If you want to share those with the class, talksport.com/H&J, text to 81089. Tweet to TSH&J. Now, Andy every day is giving me a gift. He spent £75 on 10 World Cup tat gifts, didn't you? From Amazon, was it?
Amazon, yeah.
It's Bezos' finest World Cup tat.
Anyway, here it is.
Yesterday, I was giving... Thank you very much. The first day, I had a glass. Well, I think you could get under the trade descriptions. It's so thin, but not in a good way. Not like it's good crystal. I was frightened of putting any liquid in it in case it just dissolved in my hand. And the second one, which I tried on briefly with Charlie yesterday, was a kind of hairy George Cross sort of hat come wig, wasn't it? Yeah.
And the World Cup tote bag. Yeah.
And the World Cup, that was nice. Yeah, the World Cup tote bag, I think I might get some use out of.
This is a bit more than, when you open it, you'll see it's got a bit more to it than first will meet the eye.
Okay, so this is gift number 3, Andy. Oh, no, I had some...
Number 4, yeah.
Number 4, I had tattoos.
Yeah.
I was telling Charlie yesterday, oh no, but it was a temporary tattoo. I mean, the word temporary is doing a lot of heavy lifting. Because I had a shower
Really?
that evening, didn't touch it.
Oh, no.
I had to get the nail varnish remover off the gaffer and get it working on that. So, yeah, okay, here we
So I was
go.
gonna give that to
Oh,
my
Andy, look at this. Wow, it's so useful. Look at this. Beautiful. It's a World Cup drinks bottle. It's a football drinks bottle.
Now, when you fill it,
Yeah.
apparently the flags of the world light up on it. They come out as coloured.
Well,
so
I-
one of our producers will have to come in, get some water.
I better wash it out first, hadn't I?
No, I've already put boiling water in. I tried it with boiling water. It didn't really work.
Okay, let's put
Oh,
some...
here, you've
Here we
got
go.
some
Look at
water
this.
there.
It's got tomorrow's world, this, isn't it? Remember, that's one for the kids. Yeah, let's put some water. Oh, I can see something appearing. I can see a bit of a burst of colour.
Yeah, a bit of a burst
It's always
of
handy
colour.
to stay on mic when you broadcast. So here we are. Give it a shake up, shall I?
Yeah, give it a shake, yeah.
Yeah, look at that. Oh, yeah, I can see some flags coming through. I don't know if the
look at
listeners
that.
can. Look, there's
Danish flag.
Bit of
They're not even
Sweden.
there.
Bit of Sweden coming through. Graham Potter. Nice picture of Graham Potter in his cowboy hat. Getting on the next plane. Yeah, some flags of the world coming. Thank you, Andy. That is actually, on a day like today, that's
Quite useful. There you
incredibly
go.
useful gift. So keep the tack, keep
I
that
will.
tack coming.
I've got a good one for tomorrow as well.
Here we go.
That'd be good.
Yeah, it works.
It does the job.
It works. So yeah, 03717 223344. Give us a call. Let us know what you made of it. We all have got to calm down a bit, obviously, because a draw wasn't. We'd chat to our producer earlier on. We get to 70, 75 minutes. Yeah, England want to win it, but they're thinking it's not the end of the world if it's a draw. It's a long old tournament. Ghana were obviously very happy with the draw from minute one. So we'll look at some of the talking points. I mean, there are so many of them. The key to breaking down teams like that, Alan will talk us through that. Why do we not vary the corners? Right-footed outswingers really a constant, more or less throughout. Why isn't Gordon getting more involved? That's the second World Cup game. You saw him against Costa Rica. When he gets on the ball, he is good. But we'll get Alan's take on that. A bit of Scotland with Alan, how he would be approaching tonight. So any questions you have or any thoughts you have on England, 03717 223344, talksport.com/H&J. Text to 81089 or tweet to TSH&J. So, should we crack on, Andy, with Alan?
Yes.
We've got so much to get
good.
into. Look forward to hearing from you this afternoon as well with your thoughts on the game. We are going to talk Scotland a little bit later on. Graham Scott will join us. They're looking to shake up the toss in the shootouts. I mean, we have two tosses at the moment, which we saw in the Champions League, and Declan Rice, to his cost, lost both of them. So I think they're talking about, I think it's a good idea, but we'll get Graham's take on it.
No, it is a good idea.
One toss, and you get to either choose the end you want to shoot into or whether you go first or second. That would seem to make
I think it's good
perfect
because
sense.
it's an advantage. It's been proven to be an advantage to go first.
Yeah.
So why should you have both advantages?
Yeah.
You know, I think that's fair.
I mean, one good thing about it is that they're kind of making this decision on the hoof, and it might come in before Sunday when the shootouts potentially start. So I think you're right, and I think we're going to see a lot of shootouts. I think we're going to see a lot of kind of teams that aren't fancy to get through to the next stages looking to cling on for pens, aren't we?
You see Infantino yesterday as well. He's so disingenuous. He said,
Yeah.
"Oh, FIFA don't make any money from hydration breaks."
Yeah.
Purely a sporting matter. You think, well, how about the next TV deals when they're 4 quarters? And you think you might make a bit more money then? He's
Yeah.
so disingenuous.
I know.
Awful.
Let's return to something we never really got round to the other day. When they do cut to the VIP box, and Infantino is invariably in there, even though the games are 2 hours apart and he's had to fly from Mexico to Toronto. But then you look around and you'll see Christian Carambeau, depending on who's playing in the game. Thierry Henry might be there, or some of the greats of the game, whoever's involved in that match. Thomas Brolin, maybe if it's and all that. But wouldn't it be good if we had some mind? I'd like to see the impressionist Aidan J. Harvey suddenly pop up in the corner.
Susan
Boyle, yeah. Just now, let's have a few random. Maureen from driving school.
The way
Jeremy Spake from, was it Airport? Suddenly just sitting there next to all the dignitaries. So let's have a few minor celebrities to pop up. For any game. You can give us the game and the minor celebrity that you spotted. Just make it up.
I bet he was jealous of Beckham getting a cheer. When he came up on the screen, the crowd started applauding.
No one's going to cheer Infantino, are they? I mean, only the people that that he looks after in world football.
Yeah, the head of CONCACAF, he was going.
Yeah, he was going crying. Like Harry Styles, who just walked on stage. 03717 223344, talksport.com, text to 81089, tweet to TSH&J. It is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Alan Pardew joins us next to reflect on last night. We're here with Selco Builders Warehouse. It's where the trade go.
You can tell me a little bit more about training though, because you know we're not privy to that much, you know, open training. We got 15 minutes yesterday at very close quarters. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? Because there was a moment where Thomas was walking around, you know, he's a meticulous planner. He demands standards, and he said, "Jed, do better."
Yeah.
What was that like?
Yeah, I think this is normal. He's a great manager, and he wants the best from his players. And, you know, he demands high standards. And, you know, for this tournament, we need to be ready. We need to be on it. So I think every session needs to be of the highest quality. And that's what he demands. And it's good.
But when you hear that, and obviously you're in front of all of us as well, what does it make you immediately do? Oh, God, I didn't think I was on it. What's the feeling?
No feeling, really. I wouldn't be the only one he says it to. It's everyone else, you know. So it's no feeling. It's just a part of the game. If he needs me to do whatever, I'll do it. So it's not. It's just part of the game, really.
And what is he like behind the scenes? And what's he like as a manager?
Yeah, I think he's a great manager. He's a great guy. Very, very detailed in what he wants to do, and yeah, I think the boys really love him and have a great respect for him.
And where does that come from? Because, you know, we watch him on the training pitch. You know, I get to speak to him regularly, and he loves you all as players. There's something in that, isn't there, of what he gives you and then what you give him back.
Give back. Yeah, I think it's like what he always says. We're building a family here, and we've built a family. And we built a brotherhood within the team, and everyone's all got one dream, one brain. So yeah, I think if everyone's on the same path, you know, we can do special things, and I think he's built that environment in the squad.
England now garner the win that will take them into the knockout stages.
The longer the game went, the more spaces we found. This is just like the story is told so many times.
Could easily be here 1-0 and we have 6 points and everyone's extremely happy.
Will be a frustration if they don't have 6 points against their name at the end of the day.
Turn this frustration into a fascination.
If England are going to go on and get the big prize in a couple of weeks' time, they're going to have to solve issues like what they've got in front of them today.
And they're a good side, a lot of good players, quality on the counter-attack.
Ghana playing the ball forward. Oh, Pickford's come out! Now, has he taken his man out? Now the referee's given a free kick England's way.
Very, very fortunate to stay on the pitch.
6 yards out and he's blazed it over, and that was a chance to win it.
No, it looks as though the longer this game goes on, it won't happen.
A fourth successive tournament where they got off to a winning start, but then get hit by some sloppy seconds. England 0, Ghana 0.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it.
Aye. That's Jim Proudfoot. Stuart Pearce, of course, in commentary last night. You can hear Stuart's frustration and what was going on. Let's have a chat now with a former Premier League manager and player, of course, to get a bit of insight into what Thomas Tuchel and the boys are up against. Alan Pardew joins us. Hi, Al.
Morning, fellas. How are we doing?
Good, thanks. Yeah, we would like to have been royally entertained last night, but that didn't happen. Wasn't completely England's fault. But just how difficult is it? Give us a bit of insight, Alan. How difficult it is when a team sets up like that against you?
Well, early on in my career, I had a very dominant Reading team in the second division, and we was coming up against low blocks right at the start of my managerial career. So it's not something us managers have faced. Not new. You know, obviously Thomas has had plenty of times this has been put in front of him. I just thought we didn't ask enough questions. Yeah. You know, as a group of players, of course, they're on the pitch. They have to ask questions in terms of their passing, their decisions, etc., their ability. But coaches have questions to ask as well. And I've got to be honest, I didn't think either side of our team did that. The staff or the players asked the opposition questions that maybe they couldn't answer, because everything we asked them, they had solutions for.
In those games when you were in charge of Reading and you were met with that, you would have known going into those games the way teams were going to set up. We had Alistair Howe, an African football expert, on yesterday, and he told us the way they were going to play. So Thomas Tuchel on his coaching staff would have known that. And so
he said it was deeper than they expected.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what Anthony Barry said.
Are you buying that?
Not really, because I was at Golf Day yesterday, Variety Club. We've got 2 lovely buses for the kids. We presented yesterday, and I did a speech there and almost predicted what was going to happen. You know, they was always going to set up like that. There's no way they're going to open up the pitch against us, particularly what we did to Croatia. So the question marks really were, what were we going to change formation? Were we going to put deeper crosses in and maybe put some height in the team, put Dan Burn at centre-back? That might have been an option. Tony up the top of the pitch. Should we go to a diamond? Because the 2 fullbacks, Semenya in particular, their right-back was having the game of his life against Gordon and Rashford. You know, we just didn't ask enough issues. And sometimes you need a good assistant. I'll give you an example. When we was in the cup final, when Stevie Gerrard scored that goal, Peter Grant come up to me, my assistant, with about 8 minutes to go. He said, the only person who can take this cup final away from us, Pards, is Stevie Gerrard. Let's put Nigel Rio-Coker on him, man for the rest of the last period of the game. Unfortunately for us, he didn't stick to that plan, Nigel. He tried to put a defensive cover on. But that's my point about, you know, the coaching staff. It's not just the manager. In the fog of war, and let's call it that, when you are in a World Cup game like that, where the intensity is so great, the pressure is so great on one single person, i.e. the manager, you need those staff to give you little tidbits to say, look, Gaffer, why don't we bring Dan Burn on for the, they're obviously going to get deeper and deeper. Maybe we could get something off him, just knocking something onto his head and let him leave something for a Harry, etc. I mean, we were lucky. We could have been 1-0 down. So in a way, even though I am disappointed with the performance, as a lot of people are, I genuinely believe we come out with it with a decent result.
Yeah.
It's like the plague of modern football, but this thing of retaining possession over trying something. It just drives the fans, it drives you mad. Reece James is a good footballer. Why does he keep coming back? You know, same with Maduaki, same with It's so annoying. The cross is there, the forward runner, bloke makes a forward run.
Yeah.
Try it. All right, if it doesn't come off, you've lost the ball. You might get the ball back.
You might get a free kick, you might get a corner, you might draw a foul, but constantly just going...
Retaining possession for possession's sake to drive...
in and out and playing in front of a team is pretty maddening, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I would say with that is that I don't mind a pass going square or backwards at times, but then you want a forward run. And I thought there was too many times yesterday, in particular the two fullbacks, just played a square pass and stood still. So what's the point of that? We haven't created anything. And then wide players, there was a couple of times I thought Bellingham was the only one who was looking for 1-2s, trying to run beyond, which is a feature of his play. But we didn't have enough of that. And that sharpness and little cleverness and thinking around the box was very much lacking. And, you know, there's a lot of people talking about Palmer missing the group. And he would have been the type of player that I personally would have had in the group for that equation that you had yesterday. When you're going into a World Cup tournament, you ain't just got one equation. You got lots of equations to come. And, you know, when you look at the centre-backs' performance last night, they were up against Jordan A, who I know Jordan very, very well. He's played centre-forward about 10 times in his career at Crystal Palace, mainly for Ghana. He's not a great... he hasn't got great ability for that role. You know, we're going to come against strikers in that same formation who've got a lot more ability than him, and we struggled to cope with him. So, you know, there are some serious questions to answer, and this is what being an England manager is all about. You know, what is happening today, and Thomas is getting it for the first time, so I'm sure he'll be pleased. As he drinks his nice can of Coke or whatever he's got with ice and lemon in it, trying to get his head round what happened.
Alan Pardew's with us. We're going to talk a bit about why Anthony Gordon can't get involved in the games currently at this World Cup. Why don't we mix things up a bit? Why don't we create a bit of chaos? Alan has hinted at that with the idea of Byrne and Tony potentially coming on. And winding up players as a manager, getting your players to get stuck into those key players on the opposition that maybe have a slightly suspect temperament. I think we all know who we're talking about. So that's all to come. Any questions for Alan? We'll try and squeeze them in. talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TS8 and J. Don't forget, want to hear from you on the phones today, your reaction to the game, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you'd like to see change for Panama, because I think they will change things up a little bit. 0371722 3344. The news headlines are next.
Probably there's a deeper thing here, which is we're so used to talking about starting 11s and who starts, right? And in tournament football, really what you should be talking about is who's going to finish those games. I really like how the whole squad now walks out for the national anthem, because I think now more than ever in modern football, it seems to be a squad game. Like if you look at Arsenal's Champions League final, for example, I think 3 of their first 5 penalty takers that they had marked down weren't on the pitch at the end of the game. So really, I don't really think so much about starting 11s anymore. You think about the whole squad and who can make an impact. And I think Rashford just looked great when he came on. Elliot Anderson really impressed me as well, actually. I thought he just looked so composed, so together. Gay was a shock. I'm sure you were surprised by that as well. I just thought he was nailed on to start. I was sort of thinking, who's going to start alongside Gay, really? But I personally wouldn't change anything. And I mean, I don't know, but as an England fan, I just feel it's just such a privilege watching Harry Kane. I just think he's just the most gifted footballer. I think he's just amazing. And I'm watching him now. He's starting to remind me of those kind of later Man United years of Teddy Sheringham. Do you remember when Teddy Sheringham used to drop deep and just start passing balls around, and you're like, the joy of a player who, in the earlier days of his career, didn't necessarily solely rely on his pace.
Ronaldo Nazario. Need I say more? He's won it twice, played in 3 finals, was once its all-time leading goal scorer. But let me tell you about a day that lives in infamy in World Cup and Brazilian history. The year is 1998 and Brazil are cruising through the tournament in France. They've scored 14 goals in 6 games, 4 of them courtesy of R9. Brazil are favourites for the final, where they'll face the hosts at the Stade de France. But just hours before kick-off, while at their training base, Ronaldo suffers what's described as a convulsive fit. He's rushed to hospital, where doctors don't find anything wrong with him, so he insists he'll play. Back at the stadium, France are warming up, but Brazil, they're still in there. It's chaos. The Brazilian FA have just been given a team sheet without Ronaldo's name on it. But less than an hour before kickoff, a taxi arrives at the stadium, Ronaldo gets out and is shoved back into the 11. Brazil lose 3-0. It's a worldwide scandal. Ronaldo even ends up in front of Brazil's National Congress. He thinks he was suffering under the mental and emotional pressure and he just collapsed. It was truly incredible and made his redemption story 4 years later so much sweeter.
Yes, good morning. It's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. The former Newcastle, West Ham, Palace manager Alan Pardew's with us. We're looking back on England, Ghana last night, some of the talking points. Alan, you mentioned maybe a Cole Palmer being there. You start to think about the players that could have made a difference. Even Ngama for 5 minutes, just to give us something a little bit different, to maybe draw a foul, get us a penalty or have a shot from nowhere. Listeners been getting in touch. Keith says, Tuchel may well regret not taking Trent there, whose vision and passing ability could possibly open up that low block.
We said that at the time.
You do feel that, the crossing last night, good players, good crosses of a ball, like Reece James and Declan Rice, were not getting it right. Everything seemed to hit the first man. I mean, you kind of felt Trent off the bench would have made a big difference last night.
Yeah, for sure. For me, as I say, he would have been in my group too. But, when you go back to last night, I absolutely agree with you on the crossing scenario. I know there's been slight criticism of the ball, whether that's having some kind of impact. But when you look at other teams, it doesn't seem to be affecting them. So we'll take that out of the equation. I mean, what really bugs me a little bit is that we created such momentum the other night. And I can even see it in you two guys this morning, like you're down a little bit. And I think that's a reflection of the nation, and the kids who were watching last night have had to sit through 90 minutes of that, torment. It's like, it just seems to be the way we have to suffer as English fans. But I hope they get it back on track against Panama. You know, an early goal, it always creates an issue for a low block team. And that would be key. And I really thought the first 20 minutes we were very, very passive, and that can't happen going forward if we come up against lower ranked teams.
No, it's true. Portuguese coaching, though, I mean, honestly, it's like they hate football and they want to kill any joy in it whatsoever. I get why he did it, but God, it's boring, isn't it, to play football like that? Yeah. I just, you know.
Have you ever set a team up to play like that, Alan? In what circumstances?
100%.
Yeah.
You know, when you're coming up against some real, you know, I pick out Manchester City for an example, and Man United in their pomp. You know, when you've got such assets in the opposition, you have to kind of really double down on your defensive abilities and lock up shop. I always like to think that I had a better game plan on the counter than was shown last night, because they really didn't show much at all, apart from one or two breakaways, as I say, when they could have got that penalty. But you know, it is an effective tool. They did it very, very well last night, no doubt about that. But when the two fullbacks who were having the games of their lives for Ghana, I couldn't understand why we just didn't come in, play inside them and try and play a tighter game and then hit deeper crosses. You know, so there's always an equation that you can kind of undo what the opposition are doing to you. And 9 times out of 10, when you play Man City and Man United, they find a way. But unfortunately, last night, we couldn't.
Anthony Gordon, for the second World Cup game running, we saw him against Costa Rica, and he played great. That's probably why he got a start over Rashford.
That's when he came off the bench.
First game. Yeah.
It's easier to come off the bench, isn't it? In these
didn't he start against Costa Rica?
I thought he came off.
No, I thought he started, and he started really well, and, you know, went inside and outside and looked really good. He can't get involved. It's the second game running where he's not getting... Everything seems to be going down the right-hand side. Why do you think that is, Alan?
Well, I've got a little theory on the goal. I think he's under a bit of pressure, actually. And I'll tell you for why. Because he's not immune to seeing online and the reports that come through when he got the move to Barcelona that it was a surprise to many. Many people think it's maybe a step too far for him. And I think he's under massive pressure to justify that.
Do you think there's a bit of imposter syndrome then? Do you kind of sense that? He's feeling that a bit.
Yeah, I do. If I was to say what's the difference between him and Rashford at the moment, I would say the mentality is Rashford's like, I want to get a new career. I need to show people where I'm at. Whereas Gordon on the other side is like, wow, 70 million at Barcelona. I can't quite believe it myself. Like, I have to justify this tonight. And I think he's playing a little bit tight. So I think he's a good player. I think he can create stuff for us on that left side. I think when we have a bit more space, he's a great prospect because he goes when he's got big areas, he's better. You know, when he scored most of his goals for Newcastle, when Newcastle were leading the game, he's great when teams come onto us, and that's an option for us. And I would certainly have had him in the squad, but starting against the team that we're going to play a low block last night, I wasn't so sure, particularly, as I say, with that perhaps equation that you could lean on to defend him.
Is he not helped by the fact he's not playing with traditional left backs? And Nico O'Reilly he's not Kenny Sanson, nor is Jed Spence.
He only really overlapped him once, and it was quite effective.
I mean, Tuchel was getting a bit upset with Jed Spence. He wasn't getting forward enough. But I mean, that's probably not helping him either, is it?
No, I agree with that. You know, that is a factor, and as you say, when you put those factors together, it does kind of give you a clue as to why that left side isn't quite as functional as it should be. You know, but again, you know, we could have changed it a little bit in terms of the formation of the team to kind of help that situation. But you know, at the moment we're talking about Gordon, and you know, when we look at him, I don't think he's getting enough help from the left back. I think that's correct. I think there is a little bit of pressure on him to justify that great move he's got to Barcelona, and the fact that he was up against a fullback who had the upper hand in that particular evening. And sometimes when I was a manager, if my white player wasn't getting any joy, I would have taken him off earlier.
One of the other things that frustrated me last night, and I sent Andy a message towards the end, was every corner was Declan Rice, barring one. I think Saka took one. right-footed outswingers every time, and they were dealing with it every time. I thought, why don't we take a short one? Have we not worked on that? Why don't we just vary it? Why don't we get a left footer to take one? We just seem to be banging on the same door quite a lot of the time.
Yeah, I thought it was the one thing I would say last night with the setup of the England team and the choices of the individuals made us not look as strong at set plays as we normally are. And actually, Ghana looked like the assertive team at set plays at both ends. Therefore, I understand what you're saying. Then we should have perhaps worked something to change it up. We definitely weren't dominant. When Rice was hitting some perfect balls, and obviously a few he hit under hit and hit the first man, but a couple of really good ones, we didn't get first contact on any of them. So that's always a bit of an issue. So I agree with your point that perhaps we need to have a plan B on set plays rather than Declan Rice hitting the perfect cross.
Yeah.
I fear for the round of 32 because I just think so many teams are going to try and do what Ghana did. They're just going to be playing for pens. I think we're going to see a lot of poor games.
Yeah. I mean, all these good sides. We saw with Spain against Cape Verde, it isn't easy. And it's going to take a lot of these footballing sides to try and unpick these defences. People are going to have to come up with answers because Andy's right. I think you're going to see a lot of teams, if they can keep it tight and not go 1-0 down in the first hour, just playing for penalties.
Well, I watched a bit of the Portugal game, and wow, they found some solutions. And they have much more, I would say, technical, gifted players than us, and I think that's probably why they cope with it better. But when you're going forward, when you look at the draw and everything, we still have got great situation for us. But the quarterfinal, or was it last 16? Mexico in the Azteca Stadium. Wow. I mean, that's going to be some adventure, but we got to get there first. So we got a bit of work to do. I think it is part of English fans' makeup to suffer. So let's suffer today in this absolutely unbelievable heat, and look forward to the Scots tonight against Brazil.
It's so ironic, isn't it? We were all worried about the heat. Meanwhile, over there, it's like 20 degrees.
Lovely. Conditions were perfect. Raining. It was like, an afternoon in October in sort of Manchester. We have to put a bit of perspective on it. And they will make changes. Maybe Declan Rice should not start in the next game. He seemed to be limping towards the end. He took a bit of a blow. Maybe Saka can get a few more minutes. But they will change it up. But it's dangerous. You can't maybe change it up as much as you'd wanted to because it isn't a dead rubber. You don't want to end up finishing second in the group, making the path a whole lot harder. They should beat Panama, but Thomas Tuchel can't make maybe as many changes as he wanted to, Alan, I would think.
I think Mexico, though, they'd go for it at home. They wouldn't just sit there like that.
They wouldn't, that's true. But would you be up for making a fair few changes or not?
Yeah, because I don't think there's a great difference between the group that we got. I think you can make a few changes, and the strength of the team is very, very similar. So I think it is probably time to give one or two a rest. I'd love to see Saka play. I thought he made a difference when he came on last night. Yeah. He went past the defender for the first time in the game and opened up the pitch for us a little bit. I think his presence is important for the confidence of the team. Where he is with that injury is obviously something that Thomas is managing. But, like all managers, I'll just put my manager's hat on for Thomas.
Yeah,
he will be now under pressure. He's looking at all this online. It will all be coming through to him one way or the other about the criticisms that come his way. Didn't ask enough questions from me, etc., and other people, Jamie Carragher, etc., throwing their oar in. And so therefore you are, and don't think managers, like after that first game, he would have been buzzing. He would have like, I can do this, we'd change that, da-da-da-da. Now he's like slightly restricted. He's like, should I make that change? Should I stay safe? So that does play a part.
Yeah,
interesting.
And it's a shorter turnaround time, thankfully. And just going back finally, and something you said earlier on, you kind of felt in the game, you mentioned the idea of bringing Dan Burn and Tony on, creating a bit of chaos. They seemed very well set. They were dealing with everything we threw at them.
Absolutely, two strikers.
Sometimes you just need a bit of chaos in football. I mean, it is, as it goes back, it's a simple game, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and also what you have to remember, and I've had this with my teams, the last 5-10 minutes of the low block is probably when you are at your kind of, you're very, very weary and you're kind of tired and you're making poor decisions now. And therefore you slash at things, you don't clear things clearly. So, you know, when teams who score in that last 5-10 minutes against a low block, that is why usually, because that team suddenly can't be as effective in the defensive unit. But we didn't ask enough questions. We had that little period where Harry blazed it over the bar, and I thought we're going to score here, but we didn't have enough first contact. So the point you're making, without sort of saying to us, I'm not trying to say we should bang it in the box and you know, be old school, but it was just a moment there for 10 minutes where I thought to myself, just bring Dan Burn on, let him play centre half, and every set play he will win first contact, and we might get something.
Because it did get a bit chaotic in the last.
It did. That's right, and we fed off that chaos.
And we nearly scored.
Sorry, I had one proper save to make in the whole game, and you know that is not great. Alan, really interesting. Appreciate your time. We'll catch up with you later in the tournament. Thanks very much.
Cheers, guys.
Take care. That's Alan Pardew, former Newcastle and West Ham manager and Palace player, of course. And we'll catch up with Alan later in the tournament. Kieran Dyer, former England midfielder, is going to join us for a chat a little bit later on as well. Just to let you know that Adrian Durham hosts the talkSPORT World Cup Daily from Boston Stadium after England's draw with Ghana. Stuart Pearce and Jim Proudfoot analyse England's struggles against a stubborn low block, Harry Kane's quiet night, Thomas Tuchel's tactics. Fabian Herzler, I was listening before the game to him with Adrian. It's really interesting. Gives his assessment of England, reaction from Tuchel, Mark Gay and Harry Kane, who Faye spoke to after the match. That's the World Cup Daily, available on all podcast platforms now. We're going to talk a bit of Ronaldo in a moment for obvious reasons. And don't forget, we're going to take your calls as well. 03717 22 3344. Thanks for all your reaction to last night's game. We'll get through your emails and texts over the next 2 and a bit hours. Of course, we are here with our very good friends at Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcoew.com.
This is Olivia Bazaglo. I'm guessing just after Messi has either scored or the final whistle has been blown. Have a listen.
I have just watched Lionel Messi become the all-time leading goal scorer in World Cup history. As literally I look right in front of me, there is still such a huge section of Argentina fans, and I can't even explain to you what it's like in a stadium when all of these people are just worshipping Messi. It's literally the closest you will ever get to God, I swear, in football form. I don't know if you can hear the fans. There's a whole stand of them still jumping, still singing, still holding up a banner of Maradona and Messi on one. I cannot even describe to you like the feeling of seeing that happen when you've watched this player all my life. How lucky are we that we've all lived at the same time as Lionel Messi?
That message only goes on for another 9 hours. So you
have to
get her thoughts together. Yeah, that's the longest edit ever of a voice
You know what,
note.
though, mate? She told me she was going to the World Cup and said she's going to watch Argentina. I said to her before she went, Louis, I says, one of the best things you do. The energy you feel in that stadium. I went to the Argentina-Mexico game in the Qatar World Cup, mate. I had nosebleed seats, but like Argentinian fans everywhere. And it felt like you're in company of a god.
Yeah, cool.
It felt the fans.
Yeah.
It feels like, mate, you're in a 90-minute concert, a 90-minute Messi concert, and it's one of the best concerts you'll ever go to. If anybody's over in America, Canada, or Mexico, and you get a chance to go and watch Messi for Argentina, it could be his last tournament, last time you'll see him play, go and do it. If I was in America now, mate, we talk sport.
Extra Mile on talkSPORT. Different, better, unstoppable.
Cancelo down that right-hand side. João Cancelo on the charge. Feeds it into Ronaldo! He's arrived! Cristiano Ronaldo is off the mark at World Cup 2026. Bruno Fernandes is on the charge. Ronaldo's ahead of him. Ronaldo inside the box to finish it. He does! It's Ronaldo in the double, and there's the celebration. His World Cup well and truly off and running.
Yes, it is time for Duracell's Extra Mile, where we pick that player who we think went the extra mile, those players that bring a game-changing performance and unstoppable power. And somewhat begrudgingly, we give it to Cristiano Ronaldo. There's no doubt in his ability as a player. He's a wonderful player, he has been for years, and he took his goals very well, was very selfless around that free kick.
No,
it was
and
beautifully.
He's a real physical specimen for 41. He's incredible.
He is amazing.
There's just something about him, though. You know, I didn't want him to score last night.
Oh,
I quite enjoyed. No, it said the commentator said everyone who loves football will be pleased he scored.
Lee Dixon said that.
Yeah, I wasn't at all pleased. I couldn't care.
They weren't dancing in the streets of Uzbekistan, were they?
There's the debate about Messi and Ronaldo. For me, the key difference is, first of all, I think Messi is aesthetically much more pleasing to watch. Yeah. He's much more a humble person. He's much more a team player. I just find him so unappealing as a personality. I just can't enjoy the way he plays.
He's got nothing to prove to anybody yet. After that first game, he said after the game, it's been a tough week for me.
Ego the size of a planet.
I've taken a lot of criticism. We'll brush it off. I mean, you know, you've got nothing to prove to anybody, clearly. So... But look, having said that he was the player that went the extra mile and patted him on the back, he's ended up getting a bit of a shoeing. But look, he does the kind of Sue goal celebration. He plays to the gallery. But even sending out messages afterwards saying, you know, I'm back, I'm here. And you think, well,
tiresome.
I don't know.
Yeah,
look, it's
not for me.
But they were good goals. It was a better performance by them. Not up against very much, I think it's fair to say. But so well done.
Yeah.
Well done to Cristiano.
Yeah.
For I bet he's delighted if he's heard that.
That's true.
I mean, he'll be sending us $5,000. Well, that was for today, Duracell's Extra Mile.
Duracell's Extra Mile on talkSPORT. Different, better, unstoppable.
We'll have Piers Morgan back on the phone, won't we?
Yeah.
Paul, the Manchester United fan. Hello, Paul.
Hello, mate. Morning, mate. Yeah, I didn't want to say I was a Man United fan because it comes across a bit biased then, but I'm just wondering why Kobe Manu's not getting a mention on these panels or anything. Like, everyone's talking about this player, that player. It's like he's not even in the squad.
Yeah, he may get a start with Rice out. He may get a start.
I think there's a pretty good chance you might see him in the next game. I mean, we know our starting two are there, and I'm sure Kobe knows that as well. But I'll tell you what, that's kind of what we didn't really need that last night necessarily, did we? I don't think if he'd come on last night, he would have necessarily made the difference.
Well, I don't know, mate. I beg to differ a little bit because he's a footballer. You know, last night the midfield looked like to me they was all in the decathlon. You know, you've got no, you know, players that bring the ball down nice and calm, and they're good on the ball, and he's always playing these little forward crafty. He's a very crafty footballer.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, Man City are about to spend 120 million on Elliot Anderson. They must think he's all right.
Yeah. That's right. No, I don't think you're being biased at all. I think it's a fair point. I think, you know, you could look at a lot of players who could have made a difference. I think, say, we needed to create a bit of chaos. We probably needed. I mean, it didn't particularly work out for Eza, but it needed that sort of player that creates a bit of magic. Even Morgan Rogers to an extent. Thank you, Paul. We've got another Paul.
Didn't he? Tried with his dribbling. And it was...
Another Paul joins us now. I'll tell you what, I won't give out team names. If they want to tell us who they support, they can tell us. They're England fans for today. Hello, other Paul. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good. So,
come on with a real Geordie accent.
Unless it comes on and says Cole Palmer should have been there and started. Is that where you're going to start with? I think we probably guessed who you support then. Well, yeah. What did you want to say, Paul?
No. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that.
Okay.
You're talking about causing chaos in the box.
Yeah.
Every single one of our free kicks and corners was cut out by the first man.
Yeah.
Sacrilege.
Yeah. No,
and standing next to him at a free kick was Reece James, who probably can deliver. a proper free kick and a proper corner.
But his crosses were terrible last night. By his standards,
So
they were sort of lacklustre.
Arsenal have just won the league and got to the Champions League on the back of Rice's delivery.
Yeah.
A bit much to say he can't do it.
In this tournament, okay, the Arsenal players are not allowed to beat the other defenders up before the ball comes in.
That's not affecting the delivery, though, Paul, is it? I thought I like Reece James. He's a great player, and I think he delivers a great ball. But I thought last night, like Rice and like a lot of the others, his crossing was really bad. I mean, he was hitting the first man as much as anybody was.
It was just a poor game. I've got to be honest. Sometimes I watch a bit of walking football.
Yeah.
It's actually quicker. It's actually quicker than the England team were last night.
Yeah, there were shades of that when they were just passing in front of them. Good man, Paul. Thanks very much. Keep your calls coming. 03717 223344. Who would you like to see up in FIFA's royal box sitting around Infantino? We see the great and good of football. John Terry was up there last night, wasn't he? So we always have a big star from whichever nations are playing. But let's have a few minor celebs up there. Wouldn't it be great to see Brenda from Bristol, the infamous viral hater of elections? So when there's a hydration break, says Jules in London, she says, "What, another one? I don't believe this." Nice one, Jules. Chico from the X Factor. I'd like to see him at the Azteca for Mexico, South Africa. It's Chico time, he could shout during the hydration break. Let's have a bit of H from Steps alongside Zidane and Cantona for France-Iraq, says Jamie. Thank you, John, for Chico time. Howard from the Halifax ads would be quite sensational, says Emma, the Luton fan. Just up there,
I'd go with that, yeah.
in the royal box, sitting with Infantino. We said, and she goes with Mr. Blobby, who we mentioned. That would be good. Just on the corner of the shot, so you can't see the whole of Blobby. Yeah. But it's definitely Blobby. It can't. Let's be honest, it can't be anybody.
He's wearing
else.
a Sunderland shirt.
It's wearing, probably. That's right. With Brian on the back of it. Yeah. I'd like to think whoever's got if somebody's going, can you buy the Mr. Blobby fancy dress outfit?
I'd imagine.
Sure, Charlie's got one. Along with that panda. Sorry, that's a real panda. I forgot that's actually a real panda. It's not a suit.
I'll have a look, see if we can get a Mr. Blobby.
Anyway, I'm going to put a point to Andy, who hates Ghana and Queiroz' anti-football. I'll put a question to you and to him in a few moments' time. Do keep your calls coming. 03717 223344. You can contact us at talksport.com/H&J with your reactions to last night. More micro celebrities that we'd like to see in FIFA's roll box. Talksport.com, text 81089 tweet TSH&J 03717 223344. The new Southend manager and former England midfielder Kieran Dyer will be with us in the studio to keep talking England and more in the next hour. And Michael Mossbacher from The Telegraph joins us. He hates football, regards the World Cup as a soul-crushing nightmare. It's only right we redress the balance here on TalkSport. So join us for his first and I'm sure last ever appearance on TalkSport in the next hour.
She says, if you pardon the expression, where the dad, of course, is completely useless at the birth of a child. That's her view, not mine. And she goes on to say, you're not going to cut an umbilical cord. You cannot miss a World Cup. Where do you stand on this, Troy?
It's the first time I've heard what the lady said.
She's strong.
She's an idiot, is what she is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said.
I think having a child is obviously the greatest thing that any human can do, in my opinion. And you know, say you're not going to cut the umbilical cord. Well, that's silly because you can do that. But also, who are you to question somebody else's desire to be there with their child and their family? I think this would have been a conversation with Belgium beforehand. They know it's coming.
Yeah.
But I also think as well, you know, if I want to go be with my family because we're having a baby, who's reporter A to say whatever she wants to say? But also, let's flip that now. And a male had said that.
Oh yes, it would be misogyny to the highest level.
Yeah, I just think sometimes we live in a new world now where everyone wants to have clickbait and everyone wants to have a headline. But I miss the good old days where you could just tell someone, just shut up, because she's talking absolute nonsense. I've been fortunate enough to have 5 kids, and I've not missed the birth of one of them.
You haven't missed the birth of one of them. She is strong, Simon. I'm looking at another quote coming out of L'Equipe. France Piron. She says, "You're living out a childhood dream, yet you're going to walk away from it all to attend the birth of your child. A disgusting moment."
Disgusting?
A disgusting moment.
I can't take what this person says particularly seriously. Yeah. Because I don't think it's a serious set of observations. Because...
It's a transatlantic summer of goals, guts, grass and true grit. Football in America.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup live
on talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2.
Let's have the Wealdstone Raider sitting next to Infantino, says Nigel in Wolverhampton. Just some of the minor celebrities you want to see. You've got no fans. He could certainly say that to Infantino, couldn't he? Anyway, Graham Scott's going to join us, former Premier League referee, later on to look at whether Ghana should have had a pen last night and some changes they're making to the spot kicks come the knockout rounds. But first, Nick Ellaby has the sports headlines.
Talk Sport.
Thanks, Paul. Good morning. Thomas Tuchel wants a bit of perspective after England struggled to break down Ghana. He's calling the goalless draw a good point in a tough group.
We tried everything to break it down, and they were happy to defend. They celebrated the draw like a victory in the end. So that shows you from which approach both teams came, and it's fair enough.
Meanwhile, former England midfielder Jack Wilshere thinks Tuchel should have sent natural 10 Morgan Rogers on earlier, and says he waited too long to swap in Marcus Rashford for Anthony Gordon.
Rashford has spent a year at Barcelona where, you know, they're winners over the years, and the way they coach them and the detail they give them, they're top level, and I think he's had a top season. I think, he's probably one we might see in the next game.
England versus Panama is live on talkSPORT on Saturday night. If the result's better than Ghana's against Croatia, England will finish top of the group. Now, talkSPORT's Rory Jennings has paid out $5,000 to charity today. Ronaldo's record of scoring in 6 consecutive World Cups meant Rory lost a bet with Piers Morgan, who told Annie Goldstein Ronaldo is the world's greatest ever finisher.
Far from being a washed-up has-been, he is a guy who at 41 is just literally reinventing the wheel about how long you can play elite football.
Just in case people have just turned on the radio, it wasn't the World Cup final Piers is talking about, it was against Uzbekistan.
And he hasn't played for Brazil since 2023, but Neymar is fit to face Scotland. Live on talkSPORT tonight, Carlo Ancelotti says the 34-year-old can help break down Steve Clarke's well-organised team. More at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
Thousands of children are off school in this extreme heat, and the National Grooming Gangs inquiry will start in Oldham, Bradford, Keighley and London. More with Emma at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Heatwave outside, oven inside. Stay cool this summer with a free aircon check. Book online or visit your local QuickFit today.
Exceptionally hot for most of us. Feeling humid as extreme heat builds across England and Wales. Northwest Scotland, though, cloudier and cooler with a bit of drizzle.
Stops. World Cup, Hawksbee and Jacobs on talkSPORT.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. We're ready for the action. Are you? Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18+. GambleAware.org.
Time now to catch up on all the odds thanks to BetMGM. I'm sure hate watching England last night was Sean Martin from BetMGM. How are you, Sean?
Morning, lads. Dare I ask how you are feeling this morning?
No, yeah, a little bit flatter. The air's been let out of the balloon a touch.
I'm buoyed by the hope that Scotland get thrashed tonight.
Oh, come on. He was sitting there, Sean was sitting there in his Ghana shirt, he was, with Semenyo on the back, hoping for the best. I'm sure that's not the case, Sean.
I didn't actually watch it, but we'll come on to that. It wasn't a kind of let's just ignore England are playing type of thing, but I promise.
Okay. Well, look, I just wonder what it did betting. In running, I wonder how hopeful your BetMGM punters were that England would find the solution, because we kept being told the word patience came up a lot. We've got to have to be patient. It's the kind of game where you've got to be patient. Well, we were patient. It still didn't work. So in running, were your punters feeling that England would get the breakthrough?
There were a few, yeah, and I mean, I think probably rightly so, because you assume, I mean, I'm a Celtic fan, I see that kind of game quite often, where they're being camped behind the ball and you're just trying to play in front of them, try to break them down. You need a bit of something special. It didn't come for you guys last night, obviously, but in terms of activity, yeah, there were people that did think it was going to. There was actually quite a few anyway, that actually backed 0-0 at 15-1.
Really?
Believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah. Speaking of bets, by the way, first of all, that accumulator I mentioned to you yesterday, Paul, went down in flames, didn't it? But,
yes.
But at least Ronaldo, first goal scorer, that did land. And we did see a lot of activity on him yesterday, I must say. I was quite big on Portugal's kind of chances of going deep pre-tournament with that squad, and I think that was a bit more like what we expected. There were 8-1 shots to win it all before the tournament. I think after that draw with Congo, right up until yesterday when I was on, actually, they were 11-1. They're now back to 8s. Ronaldo to win the Golden Boot was 20-1 pre-tournament, went way out to 40s after the Congo game. He's back in even shorter at 14-1. Obviously, in terms of your game, lads, 5-1 for the draw. It was yesterday when I was on. As I say, a few customers did back 0-0 at 15-1. I didn't watch it. I did sit through, though, about 35 to 40 minutes of dissection earlier with a few of my BetMGM colleagues, having a bit of a moan about it. Team selection, tactics, lack of creativity, timing of subs. Where do you lads fall down on it? And also, Paul, I know we spoke yesterday about a win giving the green light for almost full rotation against Panama. Has that been scuppered now, do you think? Or
well, I mean, they will make some changes, and we were just chatting to a listener earlier on about Kobbie Mainoo maybe getting some game time. If they can give Rice a bit of a break, they need to do that, but probably not the wholesale changes that he would. I mean, we went to that dead rubber in 2018 in Kaliningrad where Januzaj scored for Belgium, and well, you know, they were able to swap out more or less the whole team. It was Loftus-Cheek started on the right, and so you know, he's not going to have that luxury because he's going to have to be careful because they don't want to finish second in the group. I suppose it depends how the game goes. You might load the bench with players and maybe have a different...
26 people in the squad.
He has, and they're all good players. Let's have a talk about...
Sorry, on you go.
No, I was just going to say, it's been mighty nice to talk about Scotland tonight and your feelings about that and what the punters are saying. I mean, your Scottish punters maybe, are they letting heart rule head? Are you seeing a lot of support for Scotland?
There's quite a bit of support for Scotland, actually, and I was also talking to some colleagues earlier on. I don't know how truthful they were being with me, but they said they fancy us to get something. I think that's the kiss of death, frankly. But it was funny you should mention Declan Rice there, actually. Anderson and Rice, that was the kind of two main winning selections that we saw, or that we took in that match last night, was Anderson to have like 2 or more shots and Rice to have 2 or more shots. Quite a few people had that on their bet builders, guys. But yeah, I think the Scotland game, given it could seal passage from the group stage for the first time ever, you could say this is the biggest Scotland game in decades, really. We can get there with a defeat, but let's not go into it thinking about keeping the score down, I'd say. We have beaten the likes of Spain and Denmark and drawn with England and Portugal under Steve Clarke, so look, you never know. That said, Scotland never beaten Brazil in 10 meetings at senior men's level and never even beaten a South American side at the World Cup full stop. We're 15-2, so 7.5-1 to actually win it tonight, 4-1 to get the draw, and Brazil 2-7 favourites. Scotland are the draw double chance. If you want to kind of hedge your bets a wee bit there, falls just in between 2 and 2.5-1. And I heard the news just before I came on there, Neymar might be back in. He scored both goals the last time we played Brazil way back in 2011. He's 11-2 to score the first again.
How do you want
to... Sorry,
Sean. I wanted to know how do you feel that Scotland should approach the game? Because
how do you think they're going to approach?
Well, I mean,
you know what they're going to do. They're going to do what Ghana.
If you concede early and then get picked off, and Steve Clarke, you know, you don't lay a glove on them. You know, you're back where you were in the Euros, and I know Scotland fans were very upset, really, that you didn't really give it a go. I mean, it's so difficult when you're playing a team were their quality, although they're not the best ever Brazil side. They got a lot. So it's like stick or twist. It's really difficult for the coach, isn't it?
I think Andy's right. I think we know what way he's going to approach it. I think when you look at the 3 fixtures, you should probably lose to Morocco and Brazil. So with that in mind, you need to be realistic, but that doesn't mean you can't try and take advantage of any situations that do arise. And you want to see, I know we only lost 1-0 to Morocco, but no shots on target again. I think I'm right in saying we've only had 5 shots on target across all 5 of the last major tournament matches, which just kind of speaks to the kind of thing I says to you before the tournament, which I just want to see a wee bit more impetus in that sense. Now, obviously, it is Brazil, and the weight of the game will take its toll. But if the chances come up, you need to trust that one of the players, whether it's McTominay or McGinn or Ben Gannon-Doak, whoever it might be, has the kind of bottle to take the chance when it comes. I've got to say also that Scotland obviously got quite a bit of history with Brazil at the World Cup. We've played them 3 times, drew once, lost twice. I primarily remember 1998, we conceded early, John Collins equalised with a penalty, and then Tom Boyd's own goal gave Brazil the win. But I was talking about Brazil with my dad the other day, and his primary kind of initial reaction was the 82 game, David Nery scoring a screamer. And basically we agreed. Yeah, we agreed, regardless of generation, you essentially just make Brazil angry at the World Cup at your peril, because we lost that one 4-1. You guys must remember that 82 game and that 82 Brazil team.
David Nery,
I'm a bit young for that one.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. David Nery doesn't like to talk about that toe. Don't call it a toe poke. He doesn't like talking about it. No. So, yeah, we're nearly out of time. Just very quickly, last 32. Just give us some odds on that before we let you go.
Look, so obviously it's kind of hypothetical to a great degree at the moment, but you can kind of see the teams that are largely starting to make up the last 32, and there's a couple of pathways that lead to some cracking last 16 ties. Very top of the draw currently has Germany and France meeting the last 16, for instance, Portugal and Spain as well. England, as it stands, we get Cape Verde in the last 32, and then the winner of Mexico against Scotland in the last 16. What a tie that would be if things fell that way. I was expecting one of you to just say Mexico there, but fair enough.
Cape Verde versus England.
I really don't want to play Scotland. It's the only game they ever turn up for. Honestly,
well, we did beat you 0-0 at the Euros, I suppose.
Yeah, that's it. Good stuff, Sean. Enjoy the game tonight. All the best. Thanks very much.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
Sean Marty there from BetMGM with all the latest odds. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18 plus. GambleAware.org.
Yeah, man. I wonder how Cape Verde would set up against us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
In standing in front of the goal like a motorcycle display team on each other's shoulders. Anyway, let's have a chat with Sanjay to reflect on England last night. Sanjay, hiya.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah,
good morning. Yeah, it is still morning. Yeah, great show as ever.
Thank you, Sanjay.
I just wanted to say I saw the game. I saw the game, and I did sleep for a few seconds every few.
Yeah, it's that sort of night, wasn't it?
It was a bit of a ball fest. Yeah, it was a bit of a ball fest, but we have got to back England. We have got to back the process. Heat, climatising plays a factor, and we're very easy to knock our team, our England, very easily. Tuchel, whatever, is a top manager. He will do what's best for England. He tried to change things, yes, all but a bit late, but on any other day, I feel it would have worked. You know, they weren't just a low block, it was just, they were lying down. They were so far back, it was ridiculous. It was like having 11 players on the goal line.
Yeah, they could have nicked it, of course. They could have had a penalty. They had a couple of other chances late on, which was always going to be their plan, wasn't it? We nearly were sucker punches, so that was the problem.
You're a glass three-quarters full bloke.
Well, it's good. We need some glass three quarters. I mean, look, I do take your point, Sanjay. Look, it's not a disaster. We've still got 4 points. There's teams,
and the heat hasn't even been a factor. They played indoors and it was 20 degrees.
Yeah, I mean,
and it will be in Miami. It's going to be a factor.
It was raining, so Sanjay, good man. Thank you very much. That's Sanjay there. If you want to have your say on England last night, 03717 223344. The worst place to play actually at the moment would be down in the southeast here. Yeah. Talksport.com, text 81089, tweet to TSH&J, that phone number.
But do carry a bottle of water with you.
Yeah, I will.
I was thinking of carrying a bottle of sand, actually. Brilliant advice, isn't it? It's tremendous. Who knew?
A bottle of sand. Anyway, yeah, do get in touch this afternoon. 03717 22 Just one or two of the other celebrities you would like to see in FIFA's Royal Box. You can keep those coming this afternoon, so we look forward to those. What else have we got? Handy Andy from Changing Rooms. That will be good. Next time, next time DR Congo are in action. Quite random. Thank you, Nathan. But Jimmy Cricket sitting next to Sue Pollard at the next Portugal game, so he can do the full Sue, can't he? And then look at her, Damien in Stafford. Thank you very much for that. Keep them coming. Talksport.com. Text 898 tweet CSH and J 03717 22 Former England midfielder and Southend manager Kieran Dyer popping in to see us next. We're here with Selco Builders Warehouse. It's where the trade go.
Now, earlier in the show, we asked the all-important question. Who was faster in their pomp? Kyle Walker or Gabby Agbonlahor? Well, TalkSport's Anil Kandala was at the TalkSport fan zone at Villa Park last night for England against Croatia, and he put that question to some of the fans in attendance.
It's a tough call, but I'd go for Gabby. He was awesome, and no defender wants anybody with that pace running at them. So I'd go for Gabby. I would.
Quicker than Kyle Walker?
I think so. Yeah, I do. And I'm sure Gabby would agree with me.
Gabby. Well, he used to dart across the field, didn't he? I think he's better than Kyle, to be honest.
Well, we had Kyle on loan for us for many years ago, and he was quick, but Gabby was quicker.
And there you go. It might be a little bit unfair because Gabby Agbonlahor is in that building behind me, but it seems that Gabby's got the vote.
Right, the rest of the world.
He actually spoke to about 100 people who were there, but we only decided to show 3. Okay,
I clipped that up for them.
Yeah.
Do you know what though? When I think about Kyle, when I go back to that game, Kyle, of like I think it might be Germany at Wembley, and you was right side of the 3, but like you was all the way in the right back position, and I was at the game, mate, and you come sprinting across, mate. Someone was through on goal. I can't remember who it was. Muller. It was Muller, yeah. I'm like, where has this guy come from? And you've done that for the last 15, 16 years, mate. Your centre-half pairings with England and Manchester City must have been looking at you thinking like, okay, maybe I can leave a bit of space in behind, because you would always just come out of nowhere and cover.
Yeah, I think that was what my game was based on. You know, I probably didn't create that much going forward with assists and stuff. I chipped in with a few, but not as much as probably what I should have done. So my main game when I got a little bit older was to make sure I can cover the back.
TalkSport. Traffic and travel with a Subway meal deal. Take your order to the next level with a regular drink, crisps, cookie or coleslaw.
Listen responsibly and don't throw your daddy off of us. Beep, 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 beep. If you've been been affected by this trail and thrown your granny off a bus, report yourself to the police.
Good morning, it's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. 1 o'clock live from New York, Jim White and Simon Jordan. And you can hear Rory Jennings with Darren Bent in World Cup game day at 4. He is $5,000 lighter after saying Ronaldo wouldn't score last night. I mean, never bet against Ronaldo, Rocky. Certainly against Uzbekistan.
Not $5,000.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good publicity.
Maybe a tenner. We're joined now by the former England midfielder, Kieran Dyer. Hi, Kieran.
Hi, are you okay?
And the new Southend United manager, we're going to come on to that a little bit later on, but we're going to start with England. We're looking at the specifics, but what was your general take, Kieran, on the performance last night?
It was a dominant performance with regards to possession. To limit a team like Ghana to just probably one transition, I don't think they really had a shot in the whole game. It was good from that aspect. Obviously, just the final part, the final piece, the most important piece of putting the ball in the back of the net, but I'm definitely a glass half full. I think I like the insights that you get from managers and assistant managers at halftime. I think Anthony Barry said it best when he said that Ghana shocked England with how deep they actually went into their low block. I think the team was picked that worrying about transition because they are an athletic team. So the likes of Jed Spence, obviously Gay coming back in, was all about transition. And as the game panned out, there's obviously a lot of talk and a lot of overreaction about, well, if we had the Fodens and the Palmers. And I don't think that was the problem. The issue was they were in a 4-5 kind of block and we couldn't shift them out. And that's where the centre-halves were really important, where if you had a John Stones, he actually drives at someone and commits someone to come and make the jump. They were so happy to just let Gay and Konsa have the ball. And again, with Jed Spence, you see when Nico O'Reilly, he comes and overloads the box by being inverted and coming into the thing. So I just feel that fair play to Ghana. They had a really good game plan, like I said, with the 4-5. Partey was extremely great at nullifying Harry, because we know Harry plays as a false 9. He likes to drop in pockets. But I think it's good for England. I think it was good for Thomas and Anthony to see that. Especially with the next game against Panama.
Yeah. It's going to be similar.
So it's going to be similar.
He hasn't solved this problem, though. Whenever England have come up against this, basically under any problem.
At club level, Kieran.
But with regards to solving it, again, because Ghana were so... You see how athletic a team they were. We had to be careful in not being done on the counter. That's the only way teams can beat when they're in a low block is counter-attacking. I think now, especially you're playing against Panama, who ain't, I feel that he can maybe leave out one of the Declan Rice and Elliot Anderson and then put a Morgan Rogers with Bellingham and get more attackers on the pitch. And what's key as well is, especially when a team blocks up the middle of the pitch, your Y men have to have the ability to go past people. And you see Anthony Gordon, he's more a penetrator. He's not someone who gets at people 1v1. So Saka and Rashford may come into play and where they have that bit of magic. But it's not just England. You see Spain. They struggled against Cape Verde until I think it was Yamal when he comes on for his little 20-minute cameo. It shows you what them kind of players do to that kind of low blocks.
There's things there that, I mean, you mentioned Stones. Stones was on the bench. He could have seen that and he could have addressed it. There are other changes. And you were right. He had to be careful in transition because the one real chance they had, and they could have had a penalty, was when Eze gets dispossessed, barged off the ball, and they're away. They are quick. They're really strong side on the break, so they did have to be careful. But there are things he could have addressed, Kieran, during the game.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So, again, just thinking how Thomas was probably thinking again, as the game goes on, they get more fatigued, more gaps try to usually happen, but that wasn't the case. So you say about the subs, I hear a lot of criticism, he made the subs too late, and it is a valid point. But then if you look at the real big chance we had, was it Saka who crossed it? Nico O'Reilly hits the bar, so there's two of your subs, and Kane should have a tap in. So if that goes in, we're saying, again, what a genius he is with his subs. So it is fine margins. He could have made changes early, but again, a draw's not a bad result. No. Losing the game would have been criminal. Like the chance they did have on transition, that's where we lost a bit of discipline and went gung-ho, and we left like a 4v4 on the back. So obviously he was factoring that into play as well.
You're going to have to deal with this next season at Southend, because obviously
I hope you won't go low block.
No, I mean, the thing is, no, you're going to be a bit of a, it's a big club in the National League, and there's going to be teams fighting for their lives. You were sort of top 6 playoffs last year, so there's going to be teams that come to your place and do exactly that, and you're going to have to find a way to unpick it, aren't you?
Yeah, that's why your flair players are so important. One of the key issues is recruitment, and we're trying to get wide players who can take people out of the game in 1v1 situations, because a low block is tough, as we've seen in this tournament, and especially how disciplined and how athletic Ghana were.
Yeah. Because it's not just numbers, it's application, it's organisation. You saw that in with Cape Verde. That for a team like Spain and the way they play, are always looking for the ball between the lines. They couldn't find it. So teams are so much better at that these days, aren't they?
So like you said, if you can't go through it because they're so compact and narrow, you need to go around it, and that's where you need devastating wide players.
So why is Gordon not working?
So if again, Gordon was coming up against an absolute athlete who was just as quick, just as strong as with him. So obviously, I've played on the wide areas. If you come up with someone who's just as quick and strong as you, it's very, very hard. That's probably where, if you look at the England squad, especially in the wide areas with, like you said, Gordon and Rashford, have we got that Lamine Yamal? Have we got that Elise, that real world-class winger?
Yeah.
These are all they're all exceptional players. They're all exceptional players. I don't think we have a world-class winger. But again, the later on we get in the tournament, which I think we will, we'll be playing teams that come onto us. And I think that will benefit us. I think maybe once we get through the group in the early stages of the knockout, we might come across more low blocks, but the more in the tournament we come, we'll have teams like Croatia who come at us. So are we good enough at the back to stop these teams as well? That's enough.
It was interesting though, when Rashford came on, the guy, you're right, the boy at right back had a brilliant game, but Rashford started to be quite effective, so much so that he got subbed.
Yes.
So it does show that he should have brought him on earlier, I think, anyway.
Yeah, it's all valid points. There's no right or wrong answer. Again, England changed a bit of their strategy with regards to when Rashford come on, because Nico O'Reilly came in and he inverted. In the first half, Jed Spence was given the width and Gordon was coming off the line quite a bit. So they actually did tweak that to get Rashford more 1v1 against the fullback. And obviously you see the shift that he put in against Gordon. He was going to fatigue at some time.
Kieran Dyer is with us. We're going to chat a little bit more about England. We're going to also talk about his new role as the Southend United manager, his first major role in coaching. And we're also going to talk about a charity he's involved with. That's all coming up in a few moments' time. But first, we'll get the news headlines.
Messi became the all-time top scorer in World Cup history, 2 goals against Austria. But it's remarkable, Simon, that he continues to rewrite the history books as he approaches 39. I mean, it is remarkable.
39 tomorrow, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, these players, these elite players that are now looking after themselves. Ibrahimovic was playing up until 41. You know, Ronaldo is playing despite people making observations about his form. You know, that's because they're judging him by a set of standards that he can no longer get to. Messi at 39 years of age, these are supreme athletes that look after themselves, that are consummate professionals and want to play football. It makes you wonder, without trying to be controversial, why Alan Shearer stopped playing international football so young.
Oh, that's right.
You know, you wonder why these players can look after them. So you wonder how clever Harry Kane will be that will enable him to play to this age, because you know, football's a wonderful game to play, and you're a long time retired.
Yes.
So well done to him. Fabulous.
He's competing in his 6th World Cup. He scored 18 goals in the tournament, which is 2 more than Miroslav Klose, the previous record holder. He's the 3rd player to score in 6 successive appearances at World Cup after Just Fontaine, great name, in 1958, and Jairzinho, you remember him, in 1970.
You were at those games?
I wasn't at that. I've met Jairzinho, incidentally, in Rio many years ago. With him in this form, though, why can't Argentina win the World Cup again? Do you have a sneaky feeling they might?
No. I think that, you know, there has been instances, and we've seen it, and I know that I'm rolling against the precedent.
Yeah.
But on the whole, teams win World Cups. Now, obviously, we've seen the '86 World Cup being dragged there by Maradona. We've seen...
talkSPORT News. We'll chat more to Kieran Dyer after
Scotland were made to wait over a quarter
Thank you, Paul.
of a
Good morning.
century
Hundreds
between
of
their
schools are
appearances
closed
at
as a
World
red
Cup
danger to
finals.
life
So
extreme
long,
heat
many
warning
of their
takes
fans
effect
were on
across
board
parts
or
of
in
England
nappies
and
when they
Wales.
were
There's
having that
disruption on the
memorable summer
trains,
across
with
the
National
Channel.
Rail warning there's speed restrictions and higher
Scotland's
risk of delays
route
and
to France
cancellations.
98 was
Temperatures
relatively
could hit close to
straightforward
40
under Craig
degrees
Brown,
Celsius.
finishing
These people
second
are
in
already
qualifying
hot.
Group
Got a
4,
two-year-old,
which
who's
back then
definitely
was
like
enough to go straight
the
through to
night,
the finals.
obviously kind of the sleep is definitely impacted.
talkSPORT's very own Ali McCoist was at the centre of the big pre-tournament scandal, left out of the squad entirely at the age of 35. That's off the back of a season
If
in
you're
which
thinking
he
of
scored
cooling off in your
15
car,
for
there's a
Rangers.
warning you could be fined for sitting with the aircon
Brown
on
would
if
later
you're
describe
stationary.
his decision as
A
a
national
huge
grooming
regret
gangs
and would
inquiry
apologise.
will
McCoy
investigate
said being
Oldham,
left at home
Bradford
was
and
one of the
London
biggest
first. It's a
disappointments
question
of
what
his
police,
career.
councils, health services, social care and schools
The tournament
did or
itself
didn't do
was an all
to
too
protect
familiar
children
tale
from
of
sexual
struggle for
abuse.
Scotland.
Andy
Defeat
Burnham's
by
route
way
to
of an
Downing
own
Street
goal
appears
against
clearer.
holders
Sir Keir
Brazil,
Starmer's
and what
right-hand
might
man
have been
Darren Jones has
draw
ruled
against
himself
Norway
out of the
and a
race to
crushing
become
loss
Labour
to
leader.
Morocco
The
would
Makefield
ensure
MP is
Scotland
the
were
only
home
current
before the
candidate in the
postcards.
running to replace the PM. And
Delamitry's
just
World
5
Cup
minutes
song
walk
Don't Come Home Too Soon ringing in their ears. Little did they know they'd not feature at a World Cup for another 28 years.
Win back their cup.
It's a point for Ghana. They're celebrating like they've won as well. They might. They've held England in the World Cup, a 4th successive tournament where they got off to a winning start, but then get hit by some sloppy seconds. England 0, Ghana 0.
What a load of rubbish that was. I mean, you get your hopes up every single time with England when you've had such a great second half performance against Croatia. The connection between the players and the fans at the end of that game, and all those fans make their way here, having spent a fortune, and they have to witness that.
Yeah, obviously we want to win these games. We expect to win these games, but we're kind of coming up against a good team, well structured, really dangerous on the counter attack.
Couldn't convert today to make it our match. We will learn from it.
Second game fever, you know, same as always with us. It feels like, I think, in all the tournaments I've been to, it's been the same. You know, a decent performance to start and a good win, and then just the second one frustrated a little bit.
Yeah, reacting there after talkSPORT's live commentary of England versus Ghana, the 0-0 draw. Kieran Dyer, the former England midfielder, is with us in the studio. Just before we finish on England, Kieran, Jude Bellingham left a bit on one of their players, which upset the coaching staff of Ghana at half-time. The assistant coach had something to say. He could have left it, but it's not in him really. So he answered back, and then it kicked off, and Carlos Queiroz got involved, and Morgan Rogers was trying to get him off the pitch. You kind of sense that, managers are saying, get into him, wind him up, because he could be a walking red card. I mean, what would you be saying to him? I mean, let's be honest, you did have a little moment on the pitch where your discipline went slightly awry, didn't it?
Problem with, you don't want to ever take the fire out of Bellingham. One of my closest friends in football was Craig Bellamy, and you see Craig on the pitch, and he was fiery and non-stop arguing and bickering with opposing players, his own players, the ref, but he needed that fire to get him going. And I feel Bellingham as well. And if you try to curb that from Bellingham, I think you take away from the player. So as long as it doesn't go too far where he gets red cards, I don't think he's let his country down with red cards and stuff like that. So as long as it's controlled, just let that fire, because like you said, didn't go to plan yesterday for him, but he's one of our most talented players. And if we're going to win this World Cup, then I'm sure he's got to be key to that. So,
It shows he cares as well.
Managers do that though, don't they? I mean, managers must be saying, look, you know what he's like, get under his skin a little bit, anything could happen.
Well, you see what happened in '98 with Simone and Beckham.
Yeah.
Obviously, if they think they can con referees or get in the head of other players, they're going to do it. It's part and parcel. The mental game's just as important as the physical game. But like you said with Bellingham, I don't think it will ever go to the point where he'll let us down and do something stupid with a red card.
Do you genuinely think England can win this? I feel it's like looking at the Premier League before the season starts and saying somebody who's sort of a fourth or fifth best could win the league. Well, they could, but they're very unlikely to. And you have to look at.
But it's a knockout. It's a difference in a league and a knockout competition.
I know you've got to be. I'm not convinced.
I think England are one of the favourites to win the World Cup. Obviously, along with everyone knows who were the favourites for the tournament, and I just feel that on their day, England are a match for anyone. I think we've got the physicality, which is crucial. I did worry about the heat over there, but with these breaks every 20 minutes in play, that benefits England. So, obviously you need a bit of luck in knockout tournament, but we're one of the favourites, definitely.
So let's talk a little bit about your new role as Southend United manager. So a great old club, currently in the conference, got to the playoffs last year, won the FA Trophy as well. Was that right?
Yeah, the FA Trophy. Yep.
So it's your first role. You're telling us off there you were working with Paul Cook, and he was at Chesterfield, and he was the one who said, "I think you're ready for the next step."
Yeah, I've been a first team coach for 3.5 seasons. I never had a real great desire to be a manager. I just wanted to be on the grass and improve players and be a coach. And it was probably around Christmas time last year. He could see that I had different opinions when we were having debates in the office, and he said, "You need to have a go. I think you're too qualified now for a first team coach, if there's such a saying." And he said that he thinks I'll make a terrific head coach stroke manager, and to give it a go. And so we got knocked out in the playoffs mid-May, and obviously the Southend job came around the same time, and applied, and here we are, Southend head coach.
You were telling us off air, which is really interesting, is about that some people who've played at the top level, played for their country, have an expectation that they could walk in at a higher level. But you just went through some of the people that are coaching in non-league in the conference at the moment, and it is quite a roll call, isn't it?
Yeah, but so just because you've played at a certain level as a football player, it doesn't mean you're going to be a great coach or a great manager. There's been obviously certain players, Steven Gerrard comes to mind, and Frank, who get jobs straight away in the Championship and in the top leagues. But there are some managers and coaches who go down in the lower leagues, not afraid to do it. And it's just in the National League at the moment, you've got Jermaine Defoe, Robbie Savage, myself, Lee Clark, who used to play for Newcastle with me. I think Lee Catamol's at Gateshead. And Rob Elliott was a sub goalkeeper for Newcastle as well. So we've got like 6 or 7 Premier League players who are all plying their trade in the National League, and I think that's great for the league, and it shows that players are not frightened to go to lower leagues and test themselves.
You're not back yet, are you, training? I see. So Charlie Baker's Torquay were back yesterday. So the National South and North, I guess, are back. But you're back when? Sorry,
we're back Saturday. Pre-season starts Saturday. I'm looking forward to working the players hard and sitting back and watching.
Yeah.
And
how much planning does it take? I imagine quite a lot.
Yeah, a lot of planning. It's a 6 to 7 weeks of you have to be in peak condition for the first game of the season on the 8th of August. So you speak to your sports science, your head of performance, your physio. You have to plan of action of, like you said, it's not about the pre-season games. The pre-season games are just getting you in prime and peak condition for the first game of the season. That's what matters.
The fans never look at it like that.
No.
Yeah.
You've worked under some very good managers, so I take you're going to take a little bit from everybody.
Yeah, of course you do. They say a good coach is a thief. They steal ideas from other coaches, and I've been like a sponge in my career, especially since I've gone in the coaching. I've gone all around the country, seeing top managers work. I've even gone abroad to see how managers work, and you see how different people have different identities. I have my own ideas of how I think the game should be played. I have my own philosophy, and then, like you said, if you can add little bits from certain things you've seen across the way, then I think that's healthy. And because you'll be a fool to think you've conquered this game. The game's always evolving, and you have to evolve as a coach.
Now, we're in the midst of Small Charity Week at the moment, and some of the listeners may not even know that you have a condition. I had a condition called PSC, a liver condition that led to you having a transplant a little while ago, and you've championed the cause of small charities that often do get overlooked because it is quite, I mean, considering it's the charity business, it is quite a cutthroat business, and there are some very big charities out there hoovering up quite a lot of the money and the profile, but we shouldn't forget that there's a lot of small charities doing great work.
Yeah, so obviously I had a condition, PSC, and there's no cure for it. So PSC Support is a charity, very small charity. I think it's only got 4 members of staff that work and then about 80 volunteers. And their goal is to try and help patients with PSC because the symptoms when you get it are really appalling. And the end goal is to try and get a cure. I hope in my lifetime that we get enough funding and enough research that we get find a cure. And then Big Give is a charity that helps the small charities, and like it started on the was it the 22nd to the 29th? So it's a week of charity, and what Big Give are doing, which is really generous, is if you donate £5, then they'll donate a £5 on top of it as well. So it's like you're getting double your money, which is massive to small charities. So Big Give, really want to thank them because, like you said, the amount more money we raise for PSC support, then the better it is. Because, like you said, it's a awful condition, and lucky I pulled through it.
How does it affect you now, Ken? How you been?
Yeah, so obviously when you have a new organ put in your body, you always worry about the risks of infection. Again, with PSC, it can come back at any time. So you always have your bloods monitored, probably every 6 months, just to check to see everything's all right, that your liver's not rejecting. If PSC's coming back, and touch wood, I'm doing really well. It probably takes a year. It took me a year to feel like my normal self. That's how long the process was. But yeah, back in the gym doing 5K runs. Obviously, I'm a head coach, so there's a lot of stress coming my way, but my body's in a fit state to handle that.
That's brilliant. So as Kieran was just saying, the Big Give doubles donations for the small charities, so your pledge goes further. Donate.biggive.org. That's donate.biggive.org. All the information's there at the Big Give website, and we'll put out a little link on our Twitter feed at TSH&J very, very shortly. Kieran, good to see you. All the very best at Southend.
Thank you.
And we'll hopefully catch up with you during the season. Thanks very much
and
for
stop
coming.
Being so negative about England.
Yeah, come on, Andy. Come on, start to believe. I just said to him earlier on, I said, because he couldn't stand the way that Ghana played.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
No, it wasn't not fun, but I just said, if England played like that against France in the final in a low block and we won it on penalties, how would you feel?
Not happy.
But
look, it depends. It depends on how you view football. Is it all about winning? Maybe it is. Or is it about winning with style? Is it about winning and playing well? Is it about enjoyment?
Ideally, it's both.
For me, that's it. So when a team doesn't do that, as like I said to you, if all 48 teams played like Ghana, there wouldn't be football.
Some of the football...
Would you be disappointed being an Arsenal fan this season and relying on set pieces?
No, I'm not an Arsenal fan.
But I'm saying, would you if you won the league?
Would you say Chelsea under Jose, was that the most flamboyant Chelsea team you've ever watched?
Well, actually, the first team he had was great with Duff and Robin, and that was a brilliant.
But it wasn't always the most attractive football, was it?
No, not always.
And you still took the trophies, though, didn't you?
But they still played enough good football for it to feel good. That's what I think.
Sorry to drag you into this.
No problem.
All the best. Take care. Good to see you. There's Kieran Dyer there. Thanks to him. It's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com. Steve Clark's taken a bit of heat since the Morocco game, Alan, because, there was a feeling that Shankland, who is a natural finisher, maybe should have been on the pitch, never got a chance.
Well, I was going to come to that, guys, because this Brazil game, what does he do? Does he sit back, and if we get beat 1-0, it's probably enough to qualify, which is remarkable, which is brilliant. Or does he have a go and say, look, let's push them back, let's try and get at them? Now, who do you play up front? Do you play Shea Adams again? He's more mobile than Shankland. Shankland is the best finisher Scotland have got in the squad. He's a McCoy's job. He can finish, make no mistake. So he'll be kicking Steve Clark saying, you got to play me. You got to play me. I'm in great form. So it's an interesting one. But whoever plays there, as I say, guys, I think John McGinn's the one who's got to try and spark off him when the ball goes forward. We've got to retain some sort of possession, or we're going to be under so much pressure. And down that left-hand side, Vinicius Jr., that's the side that really worries me for Scotland. We've got to block that off. But in saying that, look, as long as we defend better, give no stupid goals away. In fact, the goal against Morocco, that was a great finish. I'm not going to whinge and say, how can you lose a goal that early? It was a great finish. It was an offside decision. He pushed up when he shouldn't have done, and we got punished. After that, second half, we were great. I thought Christie came on and done well. And I thought the boy from Norwich done well. Kenny McLean, he came on and done well. So it's going to be an intriguing one. It's going to be, all eyes will be on the coach to see what he does and how he plays and what formation he plays.
Another one is Gannon Doak, who's very popular with the fans. But you talk about Vinny Jr., maybe one way...
He looked good when he came. In both games he's looked good.
But he's great going forward, isn't he? Well, maybe you've got to do a defensive job first, and if you need to be chasing it, that's when you bring Gannon Doak on, I guess.
Yeah, well, this is the dilemma that,
In a moment, we will be chatting to a man who hates football. But before
Carlos
that...
Queiroz.
Yes, Carlos Queiroz, that's right.
Hates football, doesn't he?
But first, the creatures of the night. We had somebody lined up to our nocturnal army of people watching games at ungodly hours so you don't have to. Jill, the Manchester United fan, joined us last week for a game. She's come off the bench. Our creature of the night had to step down with a tight hamstring. Brackets, fell asleep. But God bless Jill. She stepped up for Colombia, DR Congo. Here we go.
Hola from the Guatemala Stadium in Mexico for Colombia versus the DR Congo. The official home of the mariachi music and the capital of tequila. We have an unchanged side for DR Congo. They have a chance to get through to the last 32, but not just yet, as third place finishers. This is a chance for Colombia to take control of Group K, put some mariachi music on, get the coffee ready. See you all soon. No goals so far, still 0-0. DRC are holding their own in defence for sure. Colombia had a cracking start with 61% possession, although a solid defence from the DR Congo. The Italian referee is doing a great job, Maurizio Mariana. It is 0-0, but it's a great game. I'm off to get coffee and a croissant, although I would prefer a tequila. Weather report for the second half. Storms coming, rain definite. Let's see what happens. We're in the 64th minute and I have coffee.
Quintero, he slid it to Cordoba, used his strength, goes down, and the follow-up shot is deflected in from Munoz. The Crystal Palace man has done it. Goals in back-to-back games. They've had to push, they've had to knock on the door, and finally it has opened.
Goal for Colombia. Munoz with a deflection. So 1-0 up for Colombia. Let's go, let's party. Oh my God, 2 goals for Diaz, but both ruled offside. Colombia could be 3-0 up by now. So the final score was Democratic Republic of Congo 0, Colombia 1. Dare I say it? It was a better match than England v Ghana. Los Capitanos, muy bien. Vamos.
God bless you, Jill, for coming off the bench at like 3 a.m. or whatever it was.
Telling us the name of the referee, Maurizio Mariana.
Yeah, what was Maurizio Mariachi she was going to give us there? Well, that'd be another creature of the night watching games so you don't have to. I'm sure, well, I know for a fact, our next guest will not be getting up at 3 a.m. to watch Colombia DR Congo because he hates football. He wrote a piece in his newspaper, The Telegraph, about it. I hate football, he said. The next 5 weeks, this was at the start of the tournament, will be a soul-crushing nightmare. We thought it was only right amongst all this football. We've all gone a bit... We've got football fever, even after last night. But Michael Mosbacher joins us now from The Telegraph. Hi, Michael.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you. I think quite a lot of England fans at the end of the first half may have been in your camp, actually, last night. In case you've not been following it, we drew 0-0, and everybody's a bit deflated today. But I did enjoy your piece. It was funny. And this, as we say, we think this is probably your first and last appearance ever on talkSPORT. Oh, I don't know what happened there. I seem to have lost him.
No, that might be his last appearance.
Yeah, maybe we'll never get him back again. Maybe he hates it so much he's decided he doesn't want to talk to us about it. So something went... Hello, Michael, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Oh, hello, Michael.
Oh, we got you back. So, yes.
Okay, thanks.
So where does this hatred of football come from, you think?
Basically, it's the thing about the World Cup. The football becomes all-consuming. It takes over all aspects of discussion. People who don't normally talk about football insist on talking about football. It's the all-consuming takeover of everything. If you've got no interest in football, tough some of the rest of the time, off is banter difficult, but during the World Cup, so many conversations get focused on football that it's much more difficult to avoid.
Although, having said that, you write a lot about politics, obviously, and you're having your own little World Cup at the moment with everything that's going on at number 10 and Andy Burnham, aren't you?
That's true. And in some similarities, lots of punditry, lots of sort of analysis, some of which turns out to be not incorrect. Yeah, there's plenty of that.
Yeah, change of manager, same thing. Isn't
Yeah, that's true. I can see a lot. Andy Burnham loves his football. He actually did some co-commentary work for talkSPORT back in the day. We unearthed the audio yesterday, so I think you're going to find a lot more crossover. There's going to be a lot of game of two halves and stuff like that chat when he's in.
Burnham and Stomer are clearly obsessive football fans. Politicians feel that they have to pretend to be fans.
Yes.
These two are genuine. It reached sort of nadir when David Cameron was asked which team he supported, and he forgot the team he was meant to be a fan of.
Yeah, brilliant, isn't it?
You do acknowledge in your piece, you kind of doff your cap to the level of sort of extraneous knowledge that us sort of sports journalists and broadcasters have to have around football. We have to retain in the Rolodex all this nonsense from years gone by from the world of football.
That's true. I mean, the knowledge, the level of knowledge expected of listeners and readers of sport punditry is much greater than the knowledge expected of readers of politics commentary. There's just the expectation that everyone knows the language is part of it, and absolutely. I mean, it's in that way, it's a unique niche.
I've been married for 51 years to a woman who absolutely hates football. She basically hates all sports. Slight bit of cricket, she'll occasionally come with me too. But I mean, we sort of coexist. I don't talk to her about football, and I don't watch it with her or put it on anywhere near her. And she's got about 600.
It's not a disease.
She's got about 600 other channels she can watch and do while I'm watching football. So we kind of evolved and rub along like that.
That's admirable. Yeah, I think the issue for us football refuseniks is really during things like the World Cup, when the whole national conversation is taken over by the sport.
Yeah, there is.
But you've not been sucked in at all. If England go deep in the tournament, maybe we get to the final if we win it, Michael. Will you join, if there's a few bottles of Prosecco that comes out in the Telegraph office, will you raise a glass to Thomas Tuchel and the England team?
I think I'd be persuaded then. Yeah. Persuaded then.
If there's booze involved, that's it. Michael, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed your piece. It's still available on the Telegraph website. Good to talk to you. Thanks very much.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Michael Mossbacher there, the man who mainly reports and writes on politics, but hates football. But look, there are people out there like that. If you know people who hate football or hate in this World Cup, maybe you want to give them a bit of a mention today. talksport.com/H&J. You can text to 81089, tweet to TSH&J. If you want to talk England still, we've got lots of emails and texts to bring you, but we'd love to hear your calls as well. 03717 223344. Changes afoot around shootouts. It's just been kind of thought up by Kalina and the gang, and they could bring it in for the knockout stages that start on Sunday around penalty shootouts. It's quite interesting. Graham Scott, former Premier League referee, tells us what he made of. So, do you know there's been less fouls in this tournament? We talked to Graham last week about the threshold being higher, and there's been less fouls in the tournament. They are letting a lot of stuff go, which is interesting.
Well, that's good.
I thought the trouble we saw last night, and we'll come up with this with Graham, such a bitty game. I mean, he had to give.
To me, it was like a game of hockey.
Yeah,
like when the ref keeps blowing up every 20 seconds.
There was a lot. It was a lot of fouls, which was anyway. It did affect the flow of the game. We'll talk to Graham about that. Mark Nelson is just back from the World Cup. He's been over there, I think, with his son to watch a couple of Scotland games. He's back in Scotland now, though, and we'll catch up with him again of Scotland, Brazil. And Ben Stokes has been chatting to the media in the last hour or so, looking a little bit awkward, I think, in that press conference. We don't know what he said yet, but John Norman was right across it. We'll bring you some of the highlights ahead of tomorrow's third test at Trent Bridge. That's all to come.
Very, very disappointed. I know it can happen, and if you're an England fan, you're used to this disappointment at every tournament at some stage. But I've got to tell you, mate, I'm going after one person. I'll tell you that person is in a second.
Who is it? I want to know.
Going after Tuchel, mate.
Yeah?
Yeah. I thought his team selection was wrong. I thought he changed it way too late. His changes, I thought, were too similar. I think you've got to mix it up. And I've seen Thomas Tuchel's teams, and I've seen him change game. We saw that against Croatia, against a low block like Ghana. I just want to give them some credit, by the way, because they deserve a huge amount of credit because of the way they played. But come on, is that it? Is that the best that we've got going forward in a low block like that? And I sat there, and we sat there and watched it. And I said to you, I'd keep the same team at half-time, and at 49 minutes and something like 48 seconds, I said to you, Joe, I've seen enough.
Seen enough.
I wanted to see something, and there was no urgency. And he left it until I've got the subs here.
Well, it was hydration break, wasn't it? Around that.
He made his first sub on 65, and I said to you in the break, I think he'll leave it somewhere about 60. After 50 minutes, I'm going, nope. If they've not listened to you, we're seeing the same old tripe.
Mm-hmm.
Same old tripe turned out, and he left it until 65 minutes. And it was too little, too late. Yeah, we had a rally at the end. You'd expect. Ghana got something to hold on to. They're not going to break the shape. I thought they defensively were excellent.
How slow were we? How slow were we? It was Southgate all over again.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I genuinely, I was sat there going, oh my God, this is another Southgate performance again.
Talk Sport.
Good afternoon, it's 3 minutes past 12. Here are your headlines on talkSPORT. Thomas Tuchel's just asking for a bit of perspective after that goalless draw against Ghana's top-quality parked bus.
You cannot be naive and leave spaces open. We conceded, I think, 2 counterattacks in the whole match.
2 games in, we're already talking about the players Tuchel didn't take to America. Shock. Former England midfielder Jack Wilshere also thinks Morgan Rogers should have come on earlier.
A natural 10, someone can get on the ball. I think sometimes as well you need midfielders against an opposition like that can dribble against someone, like get someone to jump out.
Like yourself,
mate. Maybe. Foden.
Cole Palmer was also left at home, of course. Gabby Agbonlahor thinks he could have given England some X factor, and Jude Bellingham doesn't think he deserved his Player of the Match award.
Second game fever, isn't it? With England, win the first one, do well, and then draw the second one. But it's okay. I think they played for a draw, as it would have seen them go through, and fair play to them. They did a great job.
Meanwhile, Neymar is fit again and could play for Brazil for the first time since 2023. Steve Clark's called Neymar a modern superstar. Scotland versus Brazil is live on talkSPORT from 11 p.m. In the cricket, Ben Stokes is back as captain after last week's curfew gate. He says he's made a special effort to reassure Gus Atkinson that the world will move on from the incident. Stokes definitely has.
That's all been done. Me and Gus, we're back here playing cricket. I'm captaining this week. He's back in the team as a player, and we're going to go out there and try and win this game.
About the curfew, you understand the need for it?
Just answered that.
He's also insisted he and Brendan McCullum are good mates, and Francesco Molinari continues as vice-captain for a 3rd consecutive Ryder Cup. He joins his brother Eduardo in Luke Donald's team in Ireland next year. More at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
A rare red weather warning for extreme heat's been extended to more locations. Hundreds of schools are closed and train services cancelled as temperatures push 40 degrees. More with Emma at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. This summer, treat yourself to Bridgestone Turanza All-Season 6 tyres with a 25,000 mileage guarantee. Book today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
Correction, it'll be Amelia at past. The weather exceptionally hot for most of us, feeling humid as extreme heat builds across England and Wales. Northwest Scotland cloudier and cooler with a bit of drizzle.
Yes, good afternoon. It's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on Talk Sports, and we'll cross to New York a little bit later on to Jim and Simon from the World Trade Centre. But it is time to get the latest weather from the World Cup, discuss playing conditions today, all thanks to Quick Fit. And Michaela Meyer joins us.
Only really been a factor in one game so far.
Sorry, Michaela, Hayley Meyer joins us. I do apologise, Hayley. Yes, it has. No, it's not been the factor that it has been for us in this tournament so far. And Hayley, we don't want to inflict all six. It's loads of games this evening, so we'll let you kind of cherry pick some of the more interesting weather stories around tonight's games.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I would say the game with Scotland versus Brazil over in Miami. Kickoff is 11 p.m. British Standard, so temperatures there are going to be on the warmer side. Miami was one of the stadiums that we've been tracking really this entire tournament for the heat, the humidity. I'm sure you guys can empathize right now with the red alerts and the amber alerts due to the extreme heat, but 31 degrees Celsius is kickoff start temperatures, cooling off a little bit to about 29, 28 degrees by the time the game is set and matched. But we also could be dealing with a couple of isolated showers and thunderstorms, pretty typical for Florida weather. You have the interaction with the ocean and the land, and so that can create even some thunder and lightning as well. So there's a chance, especially for the earlier part of the game, you could have a lightning delay or at least a couple of thunderstorms in and around the vicinity. So I think overall that's kind of the weather game to watch. I'd also keep an eye out on South Africa versus South Korea. That's over in Monterey. That's another one of our warmer stadiums. In addition to that, we've got the elevation aspect too as well. Both of those teams have been playing pretty much their entirety of the group play in Mexico, so they're getting used to the elevation. So I wouldn't say it's as big of a factor now going into week 3, but week 1 definitely something that they were looking out for. To start the game, which is a 2 a.m. kickoff, 33 degrees Celsius, and then to finish out the game at around 4 a.m. British Standard, it'll be about 30 degrees Celsius. One thing for the fan experience, you have to wear sunscreen because the UV index is just going to be through the roof in spots like Monterey and also over into Mexico City, where you have Czechia versus Mexico. That's another weather game to watch there. A 2 a.m. kickoff as well, as you guys know, because we're the final day of group play, or final week, really. These teams are all kicking off at the same time if they're in the same group. So 18 degrees Celsius to start the game. So it is going to be a little bit cooler for folks out in Mexico City, but it's the thunderstorm activity that we're expecting to see kind of in and around the area that could slow things down, or at least make some of the FIFA fan experiences a little bit more on the wetter side for folks and really just sweating it out. But beyond that, I would say, Atlanta indoor, Vancouver indoor. Seattle, I would say, is one of the cities in the United States that's fairly similar to London, Scottish weather as well. It's a little bit cooler year-round, typically one of the more weather-favorable stadiums. However, they are under a heat advisory. So think of that somewhat similar to y'all's amber heat alerts, where we're not necessarily talking extreme heat, pushing 90 degrees Fahrenheit, 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which is upper 30s, 40s for you guys over in Celsius. But when it comes to Seattle weather, they are a little bit warmer than average, running about 26 degrees Celsius for kickoff at 8 p.m. That's one of our earlier games. So an earlier start time at about 3 o'clock Eastern time, so noon Central. That's right before the heat really starts to bake things in. But overall, lots of sunshine. So weather, I would say, especially compared to France, the last couple of days, not looking as bad. But for Scotland, this is a do-or-die game, truly. And I think the Tartan Army's probably enjoying the Miami heat. But Scottish weather, I mean, tomorrow they're dealing with some thunderstorms. So maybe they're feeling a little bit like Miami over in the UK.
Fantastic. Thank you, Hayley, as always. We'll catch you here soon. There's Hayley Meyer there from Fox Weather in New York. And that's talkSPORT's weather update. All thanks to Quick Fit. Drive away happy every time.
US football forecast on talkSPORT with Quick Fit. Your car's star player you can always rely on this summer. Quick Fit. Drive away happy every time.
Some good Jim White style time checks here. 3 o'clock Eastern time.
Wow, a bit warm. It does sound a bit warm for the old Scotland players tonight, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does sound a bit.
28 degrees and stuff. More Brazilians obviously more used to it, although quite a lot of them play in this country anyway. Anything else, Andy, you've noticed from this World Cup so far?
A couple of bits from the papers today. Did you know that the most common name at the World Cup is, in fact, in the history of the World Cup, is Carlos? 78 times.
There are 78 Carloses.
There have been 78 Carloses taking part in World Cups. Apparently.
Okay. Charlie's.
Could have done without Carlos Queiroz.
Yeah.
This one,
Charles's.
What a strange letter this is from Bedford Boy to the Star.
Yes.
Looking at Text Maniacs on Friday, there was a picture of Terry Venables advertising his book. It struck me how alike he was to the Spanish football manager, Anthony Iriola. What's that? Poor old Terry's gone years ago. What do you mean, Well, like it's the same person.
What a strange story. Thank you, Crackers, for mocking up a picture, Andy. Maybe we should put it, I should send it to the brief so we can put it up. But he has managed to squeeze Mr. Blobby just into the corner of the shot there. Beautiful bit of Photoshop.
Yeah, I did tell you that I can get you a giant one on Amazon for about 15 quid.
Okay, I don't want you spending that much money.
I don't want to bring
Basil Brush should be in the box. We wanted to be quick. They keep cutting to Gianni Infantino's sort of box of stars, their royal box. FIFA's
What's his
royal
name? It
box.
would have to be underneath by Gianni Infantino's legs.
Was it Ivor who used to do it? I don't know who does it these days. Anyway, that's from Ralph in Stockport. Bernie Clifton on his ostrich, sitting next to Infantino. Or sort of running across the background. That would be good. I like the idea of that one. And Pompey, thank you very much.
The late Rod Hull and Emu attacking Infantino would be good.
Stephen in Hackney said the crushing dullness of England-Ghana last night would have been livened up at the end by the woman who used to come on at the end of Morecambe Way shouting, "Thank you for watching my little show. I love you all." It was was it Janet Webb? It wasn't no relation. Not Rita Webb was the old character.
Janet Webb.
You're listening to TalkSport, but Janet Webb was the lady in question.
No relation to David Webb.
Mike Parry could come on and sit next to Infantino to explain how to get to Goodison Park during the drinks break. I don't think the drinks breaks are long enough.
Not really.
Nice. So
Now,
thank you
you've
very
heard
much
of
for those.
XG. This is a new one come up by Boffins. Men's health experts have created the world's first XED performance index. The data-led tracker measures how England's World Cup run could affect blokes' sexual performance.
Oh, blimey. Okay.
It's like the XG score, but instead of measuring the probability of a goal, XED measures the probability of a match night's drinking, how it could result.
Okay.
I don't put much stock in XG, so I'm not going to put much in XED.
I mean, is there a kind of version of Opta that deal? Copter.
Oh, yes, thank you.
That's what they probably call them.
Yeah, marvellous. Would you like 6 tickets for the World Cup final at a mere $4 million?
Oh, okay. I thought you were being serious for a minute. We're going to organise a couple of flights. This has happened to me. That same conversation has happened to me in 1994 when someone phoned me up and said, "You fancy a ticket for the World Cup final?"
This is basically a premium package that includes hotels, helicopter transfers, and private security at $666,000 per ticket.
Yeah. All the money goes back into grassroots, of course. That's right.
But the trouble with all that is, it's like last night. You could have paid, as I said at the start of the show, $2,000 to watch that.
Yeah, I know. Ross, the City fan in Clitheroe, says, "Wouldn't it be great for the Scotland players to look up to FIFA's roll box tonight and see the crankies?" I thought maybe some of the moral items could be up there, dotted around. So you could have 3 coffee machines on some of the other
That'd be
seats.
nice.
Those 150 quid chopsticks.
The motorhome in the car park.
Quite a lot of pens. The moral hall. Just to look up to the royal box and see that. So just some of the things. Thank you very much for that, Ross. Keep
Somebody
them
else
coming.
wrote this one as well. Who could not fail to be moved by goosebumps and all?
Moved by goosebumps?
Moved by goosebumps and all by Flower of Scotland and all the accompanying bagpipes sung by every member of the Scottish team. Me.
South Beach, the little strip, Ocean Drive in South Beach, is a very sophisticated part of the world. It's normally sort of people in open neck shirts and open top cars driving along and, all that stuff. But it's men with no underpants on in kilts playing the pipes today. They've taken over Ocean Drive, which looks fantastic.
The fans are great.
They've been sensational. We're going to have a chat with Mark Nelson. He's been over there with his lad, the comedian, who's watched a couple of the games. We'll find out why he's not stuck around for Brazil and other matters besides. Look ahead to tonight. What are his expectations? What has he made of it as a fan and an experience as a Scotland fan so far? And what does he make of tonight's game? Graham Scott's going to join us before that, former Premier League ref. A bit of a shake-up to the way they handle the toss for penalties. And what did he make of last night and some of those big calls that could have seen England potentially lose that match to Ghana? We're here with our good friends at Selco Builders Warehouse. It's where the trade go.
is where everyone gets him wrong. The thing about Cristiano is it's incredible to me, and I feel it as a great honour that I have become a good friend of his. I love the guy. He's a great guy. We talk all the time. But you know, it's a weird thing for me. We became friends because he liked my crime documentaries I did for ITV. Yeah. That's how he messaged me out of the blue, and that was how it started. But we become good friends. And the thing about Ronaldo, I just find incredible. He still gets unbelievably emotional when he scores a goal or wins a game or loses a game or misses a penalty, whatever it may be. To do that at 41 when you're a billionaire, and you've done everything in the game, it shows you that all that matters to him is football.
It shows you that you're playing against Uzbekistan. In the last Euros 2024, he didn't score one goal.
So
I thought we lost you there. You went really quiet for a minute, Piers. What happened there?
Oh, I didn't get really quiet. I
thought the line dropped.
Harry Kane had a poor game last night. Why aren't you pelting him like you would Ronaldo?
Well, no, we're just talking about Ronaldo. I'm not talking about Harry Kane.
No, of course you're not. You're not talking about Harry Kane because you like Harry Kane.
Why are you picking on Harry Kane? I thought you were English.
I think he had a poor game last night, and the whole team. But where's the great inquest into, has Harry Kane lost it? Is he a has-been? Is he? No one's going to have that conversation because his goal records shows that he is a brilliant striker.
Not the Euros.
Ronaldo's goal record under Martinez that you've just said.
None.
That goal record under Martinez is unbelievable.
Do you think
should be lauding him as the best finisher in the world?
Qualifies. Put him in a big tournament.
After he scored that goal,
in a big tournament. He just scored 2 goals.
Pierce,
what are you talking about, man?
After he scored that first goal to the cameras, he says, "I'm back.
Yeah.
People haven't liked that because they say Messi would never do that.
Oh, so what? I love the fact that Ronaldo makes his critics eat crow every single time. Right, the whole of social media for 4 days was reveling in the downfall of Cristiano. Let's be honest, they were. Yeah. Everyone was willing him to fail. They wanted him to be
Piers,
humiliated.
Let me ask you that. England-Portugal final of the World Cup goes to pens, and Ronaldo scores the winner. Do you celebrate? Do you fist pump?
Yes, time now to look at today's so good moment of the day with Meantime. And we thought about it. It was difficult to see beyond this moment from yesterday evening.
Get there. Sebo hooks it high up in the air, and that is that. It's a point for Ghana. They're celebrating like they've won as well. They might. They've held England in the World Cup.
Final whistle last night was definitely the moment of the day. Just a blessed release.
Yeah.
Thank God that's over.
Yeah,
now we can all just go to bed. So that, I think that, in a nutshell, really.
Well, that's a good point.
That was today's so good moment of the day with Meantime. talkSPORT.
What an indictment of the game.
talkSPORT have teamed up with Meantime to create So Good Lager for the World Cup. Available now at all O'Neill's pubs and some of the best sports bars in the UK. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
the So Good moment of the day on talkSPORT with Meantime. talkSPORT have teamed up with Meantime to create So Good lager for the World Cup. Available now at all O'Neill's pubs and some of the best sports bars in the UK. 18 plus, always drink responsibly.
We're going to be chatting a bit of Scotland later on with Mark Nelson, the comedian who's just been out at the World Cup. He's back home for Brazil this evening. Before that, though, time to reflect on last night and more from a refereeing point of view. Graham Scott, the former Premier League referee and athletic refereeing expert, joins us now. Hi, Graham.
Good afternoon.
Let's start then with that big call last night when VAR didn't get involved. The whistle did ultimately blow, but not at that kind of phase of play. I mean...
Carlos Squares was there. He said the VAR had gone for a coffee.
Yeah, I mean, when you watch it back, Concert does not seem to touch the ball. Are you surprised VAR didn't get involved, Graham?
I'm surprised it's not a penalty, because it should be. We definitely, speaking as an Englishman, of course, definitely dodged one. I'm not entirely surprised VAR didn't get involved based on what they've done previously in the tournament. So I think back to the Scotland game, I mean, I think John McGinn is fouled, and it's really quite a similar challenge, kind of thigh on thigh, blocking his movement, brings him to the ground, but that wasn't intervened either. But it seems to me that should, I mean, the right decision there is a penalty, and that's what VAR should be coming in on. So it felt like it should have been a penalty. But you asked me whether I'm surprised. Well, maybe not quite so surprised as perhaps I should be.
We're seeing less fouls.
Higher thresholds for that. Higher threshold for penalties or not?
It does. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the only interpretation we can have is that the VARs have been told not to come in unless it's one of those which no one in the world could ever dispute. That said, I haven't heard anyone say that that's not a penalty last night. I mean, there were a few people who defended, rather bizarrely, I thought, defended the France-Senegal decision, and Sonano Mbappe was looking for it or went down earlier. But he doesn't. But I did hear some people defending it, but I heard no one say that's not a penalty last night.
Higher threshold for everything, Graham, really. I mean, we're seeing less fouls in this tournament. I mean, last night was an exception. And now, as a ref, you must know when you're in one of those bitty games and there's lots of petty fouls. And you've got to give them. You know you're ruining the flow of the game. You know you're ruining it as a spectacle, but you've got a job to do, haven't you?
You have, although I did think he pitched it wrong last night. I think it could have let some more go, and then the players adapt to that. So the players do adjust and they stop going to ground quite so cheaply. And so the average in the World Cup so far has been a bit like the Premier League, actually, somewhere between 21, 22 fouls per game. Last night there were 38 free kicks.
Wow. Oh, really?
And that's almost double. And it just felt wrong. I think the players don't help because, of course, they could avoid making some of the contacts that they do and so on. But ultimately, it is on the ref to try and let the game at least breathe. And it did feel incredibly staccato, didn't it? It was terrible to watch. It was the worst game I've seen. I've seen them all by some distance. And England have a bit of a habit of their second game being like this, but it wasn't entirely down to them.
No, it's interesting because obviously you're looking at things from a refereeing point of view, but you're also a football fan and a football somebody who knows a lot about football. So what did you make of England from just a football level?
Just slow and predictable. So again, from a rest point of view, where are you going to go? Well, you could almost tell where England were going to go next. And that makes you, sometimes you get that in a game and think, well, I know what you're going to do here. So this makes it quite easy. But it does seem we just lack that spark, that energy in and around the area that the best teams have. We didn't know how to get around the back. We didn't know how to break through the lines. And it's clearly very frustrating to watch for all of us.
If England don't get to the World Cup final, it could be good news for our officials. We saw in 2010 we had to get right behind Howard Webb and the lads when they got to the final. So how are our teams doing so far from what you've seen, Graham?
Well, so far so good. Michael Oliver refereed the Netherlands against Sweden, which was a terrific game to watch by contrast to last night. Refereed it a bit tighter than the Premier League game, but not by much. And that he came out of that really well. And one of his assistants had a really, really tight offside judgment to disallow a goal, which was correct, which always helps. I didn't see Anthony Taylor's game. That was involved Uzbekistan at 3 a.m. I apologise for not making the effort. But they've both got games coming up. They've both got Michael's refereeing Norway and Anthony's refereeing Senegal at the same time tomorrow evening, I think. So if they come out of that unscathed, they should still be around for the knockout. Yeah. But if England go past the quarters, they get sent home, is the general rule. So
really? Okay.
There's a kind of, because they can't do a semi, obviously, because they could influence who's in the final. And then, of course, if you can't then do the final, if you're doing a team that's knocked England out, that just wouldn't feel right. So the other thing that needs to happen is it either needs to be 2 European teams in the final or 2 teams, neither of which are from Europe. So if it's a European team against a South American team, it'll be from a different continent.
Yeah.
So there's lots of things that have got to happen. It's one of the reasons that English referees don't get the World Cup final very often for all sorts of reasons, but that is one of them.
We saw Miguel Almiron get sent off last week for the hand over the mouth.
It there, look.
There's some pictures emerging of Jordan Ayew and Jude Bellingham having a bit of a chat, and Jude has got his hand over his mouth, and he doesn't look like he's saying, "Lovely to see you again, Jordan."
I like the way that bandage suits you.
Yeah, you're really rocking that bandage. So, I mean, he was a lucky boy potentially because they're not messing about on that law.
No, there is some fortune in that. I mean, we can't. I've only seen the still images, so I'd love to see the context to really see what's going on.
Yeah.
Because the VR may well have looked at it. But one of the things about all of these regulations that are very niche and don't happen very often, like the hair pulling in the Premier League, you're relying on it being spotted in the first place. And once the game's restarted, it's too late, really. So it should be too late in the protocol. I know we've had one incident this year where game restarted and the referee went back, but that was wrong. That shouldn't have happened. So it may not have been spotted. It may be that it was judged that it is clearly actually whatever it looks like. There's no confrontation going on. But yeah, if I was advising the players, just don't do it. Get out of the habit. Stop doing it because you've nothing to gain. If you're talking to a teammate, it is fine. And we've seen lots of stuff on social media, haven't we? Oh, look at him, he's covered his mouth. Yeah, but he's talking to his teammate, colleague. Yeah, it's not an issue. Yeah, that's allowed. But Bellingham just, it's a bit like Konza's tackle. We just need to be a bit more careful. Yeah. Pickford last night. Let's just be a bit more considered.
Yeah.
Because we have, although we played poorly, we have got a chance in this tournament. So let's not give it away on stuff that we can control.
Yeah. Very quickly, Grant, because we're out of time. They're quite nimble, the Laws Committee at this World Cup, Kalina. They are looking to make a change before Sunday to the penalty shootout rule around the toss, rather than 2 tosses, and we saw Declan Rice lose both tosses, didn't we, in the final, and neither get the end nor the choice of when they wanted to take the pen. The idea is you have 1 coin toss, and you decide whether you want to go first or second, and the other captain then can choose the end, or vice versa. You agree with that?
That's what we used to do years ago. That the captain would choose the end. If they wanted to, and then the other team got to choose whether to go. There's more of an advantage in going first statistically than the end. So if you had the choice, if I was invited again, I would advise you to choose to go first and accept that it won't be your fans behind the goal. And at the World Cup, I can't see how it's going to make that much odds. I know you have quite a lot of partisan fans, but there's also an awful lot of people in those stadiums who are simply neutrals watching the game.
Yeah.
And so I would certainly go first rather than choose the end. Currently, the rule is the referee goes heads, that entails the other. So technically, you don't lose that toss, but it certainly feels like it's the team who's kind of kicking in at the wrong end, as it were.
Thank you, Graham. Interesting as always. Thanks very much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Graham Scott, former Premier League referee and the Athletic refereeing correspondent. Now, thanks to Mark Nelson, freshly back from he was with his lad, he behaved himself. Freshly back from the World Cup, joins us to look ahead to Brazil tonight. But Ben Stokes has been chatting to the media ahead of the 3rd test at Trent Bridge tomorrow. John Norman witnessed it all. He's going to join us. We're a little bit from the England skipper back in the team in a few moments' time.
You would have played with Rashford in against him, Jack. why isn't he starting? Why is he getting brought on 83rd minute? Because I like Gordon, but Rashford is in a different league for me.
Yeah, I think with wingers, right? Wingers I always think is such a difficult position because one game you can be the best player and then another game it don't quite work out for you. You miss 1v1, you lose the ball a couple of times because they take so many risks. You want your wingers to take risks. And I feel like I agree with you, Gabby. I feel like Rashford has spent a year at Barcelona where, you know, their wingers over the years and the way they coach them and the detail they give them, like they're top level. And I think he's had a top season. I think, he's probably one we might see in the next game. I think 83rd minute was probably too late for him. Like, again, someone who dribbles, he gets at players. Anthony Gordon can do that, but I feel like if you can see that it's not working, like change the wingers. That's one thing that you can do, and it's relatively risk-free in terms of like avoiding transition and stuff, and probably waited too long for that.
Jack, what type of England fan are you? Having played, of course, at the highest level for England, when you watch us at major tournaments, are you like me and most fans where 1 minute you think we're going to win the World Cup, and the next you think the manager should get the sack?
No. You know what? I'll be honest. Gareth Southgate left me out of 2018. So when he was in charge, of course I wanted England to win, but there was always that little bit of anger in me. So this is actually probably the first one where I'm like a proper fan. And no, I think, you know, I was talking to someone last night and they were asking me who do you think's favourites, and I don't think like right now, like it doesn't really matter who's doing well, who's not doing well. You know, I think Argentina lost their first game when they won it last time, and this tournament's a little bit longer.
We've all seen one of these before, right? The old heavy leather book. No, not that one. That one. Used in World Cups and football as a whole for years back in the day. It's a far cry from modern balls made from synthetic materials full of sensors for VAR and goal line technology. So when did the switch happen? Up until 1970, it was generally the rule of thumb that the host nation would provide the ball. The balls were always made from leather, usually with a vulcanized rubber interior, the same stuff they make tennis balls from. But in rainy and muddy conditions, the ball would absorb loads, and it was like playing with a brick. In 1970, Adidas were tasked with creating their first ball, and they came up with this icon, the Telstar. Despite its new, sleek look, it was a handful for goalkeepers and pretty unpleasant to head with. So in 1974, Adidas came out with the Telstar Durlast, the first synthetically coated ball that would be resistant to water and mud, and generally wouldn't wear as badly. The next major breakthrough came during the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, where Adidas placed an alien-like sensor in the middle of the ball, tracking every touch at 500 hertz to aid referees in offside decisions and handball calls. But in essence, it's the same ball developed by Adidas over 40 years ago.
Win 26 grand in your hand, courtesy of talkSPORT Win.
Now, talkSPORT have commentary of every single game from the FIFA World Cup 2026, and to celebrate, we're giving you the chance to win £26,000 in cash, and the best part is it's completely tax-free. So if you're feeling lucky ahead of Scotland's game tonight, then enter right now. Here's how.
For your chance to win, visit talksportwin.com or text WIN to 83338 by 6 p.m. on the 20th of July 2026. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or send your name and number by post to Comp1, PO Box 3190, Colchester CO2 HEP to arrive by midnight on the 23rd of July 2026. 18 plus, UK residents only. For your chance to win, text WIN to 83338 now. It's a network promotion. Full T's and C's at talksportwin.com.
Now, Ben Stokes is back in the England team after that nightclub incident, as is Gus Atkinson. The skipper spoke to the media an hour or so ago. I couldn't hear what was being said, but we saw it on our screens, and his body language suggested it was quite an awkward exchange. Among the things he was asked was a comment that Brendan McCullum, the England coach, made about his mental health. And he was asked whether he was surprised it was brought up, despite reports from his Durham teammates and management. He seemed absolutely fine.
Our friends care for each other, don't they? Just like I think anyone else would. If someone was worried about one of their friends, then how they portray that in front of, quite a lot of people, it's not an easy thing to do, I don't think. So look, I think just think give Brendan a break on all that. It was a hard thing for him to do, to come up here and speak about that, I'm sure. I knew what he was meaning. He cares about me. He cares about members of that team as well. So, yeah, I think don't read into his words too much.
It's Ben Stokes in the last hour. John Norman, our chief cricket correspondent, joins us. He was watching that all unfold, and he'll keep us updated, of course, and we'll have commentary over on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel for our overseas viewers and listeners. Hello, John.
Hey. How you doing, guys?
Yeah, what did you make of that exchange? They said listening to it a bit now, it was obviously a bit of an awkward to and fro with the press, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it just completes the set now, because I spoke to Rob Key, a week or so ago, 10 days, was in the Brendan McCullum press conference, and now the Ben Stokes. And, these guys speak, very eloquently, very freely. They're guys that, their character comes first. They speak honestly, with passion. And I just haven't really picked up on that in any of these interviews. They all seem very stilted, very media managed. You hear the same kind of buzzwords or phrases being used. And at the end of the day, there sounds like there is stuff going on behind the scenes, which we are hearing little briefings or rumours about. Our Brendan, as Stokes now calls him, I don't know when he stopped calling him Baz. Are Brendan and Stokes, have they had a problem? I think there's still some part of this story that is still to be told publicly. Anyway.
Yeah, they stopped calling him Baz, John. They stopped playing Bazball. I said the other day, I just feel they're falling between two stools. They can't make up their mind what they are now. At least they had a clear sense of what they were doing when they did Bazball. Now it's a sort of, shall we attack, shall we defend, what shall we do? And they end up doing nothing.
Well, I think that's where part of the problems come from, Andy. There was, to my mind at least, and a lot of others in the press box, a clear difference of opinion as to how England should go about playing Australia. Ben Stokes, with the bat in hand, was blocking it out at the same time that Brendan was saying that these guys need to back themselves a little bit more, go harder, as they used to say. So, look, it was back here actually in 2022 at Trent Bridge where the Bazball era really got off to that, dynamic and explosive and entertaining style. But look at the team, Jimmy Anderson, Stuart Broad, Johnny Bairstow, Ben Stokes at his absolute best. It's Joe Root, of course. It's one thing to want to go out there and play this brand of cricket. And when you've got players like that, where it comes very naturally to them, well, then fine. But it's very, very different when you're going to the Oval and you don't have Ben Stokes in the side. So the balance is completely offset. You've got debutants wherever you look. And Matthew Fisher and Emilio Gay are playing in their second test matches. And, of course, you've got Joe Root as the captain. It doesn't come as naturally to him. So, yeah, I mean, this is a problem. I don't think anybody really knows what's going on in terms of what the brief is. What is Bazball Mark 2 or 3 all about now? Yeah. And if you were to pick out one player out of all of them, and Stokes' form with the bat has, caused problems, it's Ben Duckett. You know, he played out maidens at the start of the innings at Lords, and he was going at 9 from 27. His strike rate, which used to be up near 98%, has dropped down. And Ben Duckett epitomised Baz Ball because he was a natural Baz Baller. He just saw ball and hit the ball. That was it. And even that seems to have changed. So
he played a little bit better in the last innings, and before he got run out, it was a bit more progressive. But
well, he was. That first innings, he was timing the ball beautifully, wasn't he? And it looked really good. But again, you know, there's a misfortunate moment with Emilio Gay. Look, if they're going to score runs and get back to the Baz Ball way, it's probably going to be here. You know, you're not going to want to be bowling for the first 2 days, are you? It's a flat track. We know what Trent Bridge brings to cricket. It should be a high-scoring encounter. So, you know, we could see a return. You know, short boundaries, square of the wicket. This is where it should all be set up. Ben Stokes coming back into the side, you know, to show to everyone that all the chat of the last 2 weeks is just that. Get back to the basics of winning high-scoring cricket games and entertaining people.
Just a quick one on the football. I'm going to ask a quick football question because 2 things. Jerome Opoku played very well for Ghana last night, was Fulham under-18 captain, but you let him go. I'm sure you'll be like to hear that. And Alvaro Arbeloa, who looks a lot like Joseph Fiennes playing Gareth Southgate in Dear England. But I mean, look, what do you make of it? He had a kind of tricky period at Real Madrid, and it looks like he's coming into your place at Fulham. How are you feeling about that?
Well, when Guillem Balaguer put out a tweet earlier today, and he went to town about essentially he's not willing to sign for Fulham unless there is a long-term vision in place, and he really has this kind of progressive view of how football should be played. He wants to be bringing in younger players throughout the academy, and also there'll be a couple coming over from Spain. He's not just about a low block and just avoiding relegation. That's what you want to hear, isn't it? If you're a Fulham fan, of course he doesn't have a track record necessarily, but come on, let's just do it. We had Felix Magath once, so anything's.
I hope he doesn't hit the ground running because we got them the first.
You got them first day. You want him to make a slow start. And Harry Wilson, David Ornstein from the Athletic, reporting that he's going to Leeds. How are you feeling about that, John? Big blow. I mean, you kind of knew it was coming, but a shame.
Yeah, I'm slightly surprised actually because there's a couple of things with Harry Wilson. Very, very briefly. First off, he's been a really good player for us, and he's been there for a number of years. But he really had this golden couple of months, which, it was a little bit of an outlier actually. He scored some absolutely beautiful goals. He's got a lovely left foot, and the feeling was he was going to go to Aston Villa. Fine, right? We get that. Champions League football, big money. He's out of contract. So to go to Leeds, and Leeds are interesting. I love Leeds. I think they're proper. They are obviously a proper football club. But he was going to go there in January. Yeah. So I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one. I kind of saw him moving on to a top 6 club. The fact he's gone to Leeds is slightly surprising. But hey, good luck to him.
John, thank you. Hear from you tomorrow.
Yeah, looking forward to it, guys. It'll be, it was very comforting on my way up to Nottingham. I was at the tram stop in Croydon listening to this guy. He was listening to talkSPORT on the phone, listening to Andy Goldstein moan about the England performance last night. And there's a strange sense of comfort that you get from that. Yeah. I don't know what it's about.
Cheers, John. John will be up tomorrow as part of our commentary team. Overseas, you can watch and listen to our coverage, and we'll have regular updates here on talkSPORT from Sam Ellard. Now, Mark Nelson joins us, comedian and Scotland fan. He's been over at the World Cup for the first couple of Scotland games. He's back now despite trying to land a ticket for Brazil tonight. It didn't quite happen. He was there with his son. Great dads and lads trip. We'll catch up with him. Look ahead to tonight. His expectations for the game. It's live on talkSPORT, of course. I don't need to tell you that. Natalie Sawyer, Joe Shannon and Mark McGee, the former Scotland assistant manager, your commentary team for the 11 o'clock kickoff. We're here with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out all this month's real deals at selcobw.com.
me, he got his tactics wrong. He got the starting 11 wrong. How Jed Spence is starting over Nico Riley, I'll never know.
Was a painful watch.
How Anthony Gordon starts on that left, I'll never know. How Noni Madueke wears an England shirt, I'll never ever know. The tactics were completely wrong. Just everything. I mean, Anthony Gordon out left. If Barcelona are watching that and they've signed that cheque for £70 million, part of that fault was the fact that Jed Spence gave him the ball so late that when he got the ball, there was 3 players around him, right? So there's hardly anything he could do but make space. Madueke on the other side, my goodness, how many times did he get the ball out wide and he had room to run at the defender and runs about 3 yards, stops, turns and passes the ball back.
And he did it a couple of times where he ran in behind and then got a crossing and you're like, okay, then keep doing it. Then he stopped doing it. And you just seen a quality shift when Saka come on.
Yeah, totally. But Saka's obviously not fit, right?
Yeah.
Marcus Rashford, obviously not fit, is what I'm hearing.
I think Rashford is.
Well, I'm hearing he's got a little niggle. That's why he only came on for like 15 minutes or something. Yeah. But then you look at the right back. I like Reece James. I think he's an excellent player. But that game, for me, was crying out for Trent.
Yeah, it was
if you need anyone on the right fullback position to whip crosses in, it was Trent. And it also, sorry, Gabs, it also underlined for me that when you've got a team that play in the way they do with 10 behind the ball in a low block and you need someone to unlock their defence, Cole Palmer, I mean, my goodness.
Yeah. It was a game for Palmer.
Of course it was. I mean, it's just, honestly, the manager leading up to this competition, like all England managers, they get me excited. I come on national radio, I say we're going to win the World Cup. I see guff like that, and then I thought...
as well, look, you look at the game last night, you say, okay, you've got a cheerleader on the bench in Henderson who's there for vibes, when you could have had a player like Palmer just to open up a game like that. That game was crying for someone who's got that clinical pass. You know, that little lofted through ball into Harry Kane or one of the attacking players.
Shabana Hearn has been out and about. She's been in the Scotland camp, of course, throughout the tournament so far. She was in Miami in the build-up to the game. This is what she's been getting up to.
Guys, what's it like going to the baseball when we know nothing about baseball?
The party was good, though. That's what we're here for.
What's your prediction against Brazil?
Oh, at least 10-0 win.
Come on, Scotland! Is that your biggest fan?
What? Hilts on, tops off. Aye, exactly.
Oh,
Cheers.
That's my dad.
He hits me.
Should have had a few more drinks, I think.
Well, they're all behaving themselves. Mark Nelson was part of all that Tartan Army throng with his lad. He's been over for a couple of games. He is back now, though, the comedian, and he joins us now. Hi, Mark.
Hi, pal. How you doing?
Everybody looks like they're having such a great time. I was looking through some of your Twitter pictures with you and your son, and it looked like the trip of a lifetime.
It was. It honestly couldn't have gone any better. It's kind of. We went to the Euros the last time in Germany, and I never actually thought we'd ever get to go to a World Cup again in my lifetime. So going over there in America with my wee boy, it was phenomenal. Genuinely phenomenal.
He got on the BBC News, didn't he? He was one of the Vox Pops.
He did. People have already been saying he's providing far better coverage than I've ever given on the radio, and most pundits have ever given, to be honest.
So I know I saw you kind of putting out a plea for a Brazil ticket. So you would have stuck around had you managed to get a couple of tickets, yeah?
Yes, there was a brief moment. We were both kind of sad to leave Boston, and there was a brief moment where I might have been a wee bit too drunk. It was that kind of 2-hour period where I thought, do you know what? You know when you're that drunk and you go, do you know what? $4,000 for another couple of days isn't actually that bad of money, you know. So.
And I see John McGinn. You met up with John McGinn, and you had a photograph with him. Lovely.
Yeah. That was completely random. We were in a taxi on our way in to meet some pals in the centre of Boston, and we saw the team bus just randomly. So I told the driver to stop immediately, and we got out, and McTominay was about, John Suter, John McGinn. So he got a shirt signed. He bought an America shirt the day before, so he got that signed by McTominay and McGinn. So. Like I say, honestly, it couldn't have gone any better.
It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, having such a fabulous trip with your son, it's such a memorable thing to do. It's how FIFA get away with all this, isn't it? That's how they can charge you.
Exactly.
It's so wrong, but you can't buy what you've done with your kid, can you? It's such a great experience.
It's gone that well. He's got a poster of Gianni Infantino up in his wall now. So.
That's good.
I love the way that the people there have absolutely embraced it as well, because I saw something you reposted, and I saw this on social media. Down Ocean Drive, as we said, this very sophisticated road, was a fire truck belting out, "Yes, sir, I can boogie."
Yeah. It's the Americans have learned a lot of new songs in the past couple of weeks, which has been nice. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of negativity from myself as well, and that kind of podcast I do about football, about how, but it was largely about FIFA and how a lot of the kind of powers that be in America have kind of been fleecing fans, but. Yeah. The actual public, honestly, couldn't have been any more welcoming to us. They were just phenomenal, very confused at the start, but then got involved very, very quickly.
So two tonight.
Yes.
How would you like to see Steve Clarke approach it? Would you make changes? If so, what would you do?
I would make changes. I don't really know how he's going to go. I mean, the assumption would be he'll go very conservative, as Steve Clarke is want to do. I don't think you can go out and try and win this game outright, because Brazil are just too good, and we're playing them at 6 p.m. in Miami in 40-degree heat. So you have to contain them. I would like us to believe that we've actually got a decent team going forward for once. I think against Haiti we won the game, which was the most important thing, but we seemed to sit back and just accept that as a win. And then it took us about 35 minutes to realise that we could actually get at Morocco.
Yeah.
So I think tonight, be pragmatic about it. Certainly don't give away a goal in the first 60 seconds. But I'd love to see Ben Gannon-Doak play from the start tonight, because he's our only player with true pace, and he's the only kind of outball that we have when we get it back off the Brazilians.
What about Shankland? Because he is your best finisher, and you may not get a lot of chances tonight. So if you do, you've got to have someone who can put them away.
Well, that is the thing. I mean, like Shea Adams, they kind of came out the other day and admitted that that's probably the toughest he's ever had to work in a football field against Morocco. The problem is when we will play one up front, and then there's the dilemma that Shankland is the best finisher, but I wouldn't discount Lyndon Dykes coming in, because what Lyndon Dykes does is he poses a problem for Brazil's centre-backs because of his physicality, and then that allows McTominay to run in and score the kind of goals that he scored for qualifying, which were largely the top man knocking it down and Dykes coming onto it.
Yeah, he does like Dykes, doesn't he?
Sorry, McTominay coming onto it.
Yeah. No, he does. He does like Dykes, and he's turned to him quite often. So, well, brilliant, Mark. Yeah. Enjoy the game. I'm glad you had a great trip out there. But enjoy the match.
Thank you so much.
And hopefully we'll catch up with you later in the tournament. Thanks a lot.
I will do. Pleasure to speak to you, boys. Take care.
Mark. All the best. Yeah. Comedian Mark Nelson there, fresh from the World Cup.
Basically, a narrow defeat. People think they'll go through.
Yeah.
But if they get thrashed, it could be tricky.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're going to get. I mean,
Brazil are not that great. They're not, and they're growing into the
Yeah.
tournament, but they're not going.
Just got to, even if they go behind, as they did really against Morocco, stay in the game, and they came on strong towards the end. I think that's going to be the key. Don't find yourself 2 or 3 down, and then it's going to be tough. Anyway, we wish them well. It's live on talkSPORT tonight from 11 o'clock. We'll be poring over that and all the other games overnight tomorrow. Thanks for your company today. If you missed any of the show, we had some great guests. Alan Pardew was great on England earlier on, some interesting stuff. The H&J Daily Podcast, the best bits of this afternoon's show, is available wherever you get your podcasts or on the talkSPORT website. We'll see you tomorrow from 10. Coming up next, live from New York, Jim White and Simon Jordan. Jude Bellingham left a bit on one of their players, which upset the coaching staff of Ghana at half-time. The assistant coach had something to say. He could have left it, but it's not in him, really. So he answered back, and then it kicked off, and Carlos Queiroz got involved, and Morgan Rogers was trying to get him off the pitch. You kind of sense that, managers are saying, get into him, wind him up, because he could be a walking red card. I mean, what would you be saying to him? I mean, let's be honest, you did have a little moment on the pitch where your discipline went slightly awry, didn't it?
Problem with, you don't want to ever take the fire out of Bellingham. One of my closest friends in football was Craig Bellamy, and you see Craig on the pitch, and he was fiery and non-stop arguing and bickering with opposing players, his own players, the ref, but he needed that fire to get him going. And I feel Bellingham as well. And if you try to curb that from Bellingham, I think you take away from the player. So as long as it doesn't go too far where he gets red cards, I don't think he's let his country down with red cards and stuff like that. So as long as it's controlled, just let that fire, because like you said,